what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Joe Biden's America, where everything's made up and the facts don't matter. I'm Toxic Male. That's Terrence Pop.
What's up, you thumb-sucking butt pluggers?
Oh, your ex is calling. Let me turn my ringer off. Hang on.
Oh, my God. I got to be like that.
Because I'm an asshole. I learned from the best. What can I say?
Well, okay.
And we are joined by a third asshole tonight. You know him as the realist philosopher. Check him out on BitChute if you haven't already. He goes by the realist philosopher, bitchute.com/therealistphilosopher. How you doing, good sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Thank you.
Nice having you here, man.
You look all sun-bleached the way that the light is hitting you right now. Like you just wandered in from chasing a cowboy off into the sunset with S-less chaps and some spikes on your heels.
So what's the temperature there now? Is it like in the 80s, 90s?
It's in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be 100 soon.
Yep. When I lived there for a year, I showed up in summer. It was hot as balls. And I worked for an entire year. When the other summer came, I looked at my employer, and I'm like, I'm out of here.
I'm out.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. I like the heat. Getting older, heat's good for my bones. Not so good for your skin, but I've always had a youthful look, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I got the bone problems as well, joints. From the cold, it just wrecks me.
Yeah.
You getting up in the winter.
Oh, yeah. Like, literally, when I get up in the morning in the winter, it sounds like a Jiffy Pop machine going on. Everything's like... Yeah, it's terrible.
Yep.
It's terrible.
You know you're getting old when you got to warm up to sleep.
Oh. Amen.
And they women.
That's gay. Stop it.
I know. Speaking of gay, first thing tonight, this came to my attention this morning. Sent to us on Locals. Salty Cracker did a video on it. And he's been on the show, near and dear to our hearts. If you haven't heard, Coach Red Pill is missing. Following this article from the Daily Sleaze, how a sleazy American dating coach became a pro-Putin shill in Ukraine. See, now the difference between him and the morons at the Daily Beast like Mark Hay, who wrote this article. Uh-huh. You notice how right away, like, sleazy American dating coach, pro-Putin shill, peddled sexist, bile, toxic relationship advice within a subculture populated by men's rights activists and incels. They're doing everything they can to stack the deck against this dude right away. And then in the first paragraph, they tip their hand because they reported it right here. The commentary and analysis I post from Coach Red Pill is without picking sides. He lives in Ukraine.
He does.
And he says flat out, trying to be as balanced and factually accurate as I can be. So somebody who's actually there on the ground with the capability of giving intelligence that's not watered down by propaganda. And what are we going to do? We don't know. Because apparently now for the last almost 24 hours, he has been missing in action.
Well,
shit.
Well, this is what I got on my end. And hang on, let me go to the messages. Okay, his name is what? Gonzalo Lira?
Gonzalo Lira, yeah.
Gonzalo Lira? Yeah, okay. So he's a U.S. citizen, and he is on the radar. They're looking for him over there.
Yes.
So they have the State Department and so forth.
Yeah, from what I understand, if this is accurate, going by what I've read, what I heard on Salty Cracker, and other people sending us information all day, the Daily Beast posted this article about him and then reached out directly to the Ukrainian government for comment. He was gone within 48 hours.
Yeah, and here's the scary part here. Now, if they picked him up and killed him immediately, we're never going to find out what happened to him.
No.
He's just going to disappear because there's so many moving parts on the ground down there.
Yep.
All right, and then you have the regular army, you have a bunch of foreigners coming in, and then you have the Ukrainian equivalent to our National Guard units rolling around in there. Okay. It's really chaotic.
Oh, April 15th was how long he's been missing, so 4 days.
4 days.
4 days.
Uh-huh. And like, he's on our radar. We are looking for him, so.
Yeah. I actually, as soon as all of the shit in Ukraine started going down, I reached out to him like, dude, how you doing? Can we help with anything? Is everything going all right? Have you been bombed? Are you dead already? Send me a message from beyond the grave. Something. Didn't hear anything.
Nothing. Yeah. I sent him some stuff too. I have actually contacts who are in Poland right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get information from them in regards to what's going on. I know that these particular individuals, they aren't doing any combat ops. They are running massive amounts of supplies out to the Ukrainian hospitals and so forth, and bringing in medications and what have you.
Damn.
They're not doing the frontline fighting. They wanted me to go with them on that, and I'm like, look, bro, no. If you even want me to do anything like that, you're gonna have to deposit $100,000 cash in my account and pay me $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's no fucking way I'm going down there. I'm just not doing it.
I mean, you're not exactly spring chicken anymore in terms of that shit.
No.
So.
Well, I mean, I could walk around aggressively. Like, sons of bitches. I could point at stuff, yell at people, pick that up, move forward. Why are you not shooting? Load that weapon. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, I could do that. But, my door kicking days are done.
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 All right. Well, before we move on, I just want to make sure I raise a shot to Coach Red Pill. Godspeed to him. I hope that he's okay.
I hope you see you again, man. We like your content.
Oh, that's so good. Got the last bottle at the store.
Yeah.
Texas Rail Dog. You've corrupted me. It's quite fantastic.
Fantastic.
Fantastical. All right. Well, thank you all very much for tuning in with us tonight. If you can't read the text on your screen, we are joined by the realist philosopher. We're going to be getting into a lot of ideological discussion tonight. He's got a very unique perspective on the wokeness.
I just think the wokeness is just stupid.
It's fanatic idealism.
Well,
and it's becoming more radical all the time.
Well, one, it's fanatic realism for people who are weak.
Yes.
I mean, the weak people are flocking to this shit in droves, and they're blaming everyone else for their inability to thrive.
Kind of like people who live in Detroit. Segway.
Since we are literally
this is our
4 or 5 miles. No.
You're like a mile and a half from 8 Mile.
Yeah, I'm a mile and a half from the debarkation zone right there.
Yeah, you're like right by where the trailer where Eminem walked in and saw his mom getting plowed by her boyfriend.
8 miles to FLOT. The FLOT stands for Forward Line of Troops.
Ah, okay. Yeah, have you guys heard about this? Detroit illegally overtaxing homeowners $600 million, and they're still waiting to be compensated.
Detroit doesn't have money to pay that money back.
No. Well, why do you think they screwed their fucking residents out of it in the first place?
All right, for those of you that don't know, there's a holiday called Devil's Night, and it was pretty much only observed in Detroit. And
did the Crow take place in Detroit?
Yes.
They talk about Devil's Night and the Crow. Okay. It's been a long time
now,
since I've seen
I used to go onto my roof when I lived at basically 8.5 and Coolidge, which is 800 yards away from, 8 Mile. And me and my buddies would get up there and just look at all the house fires.
Yeah.
Like literally, you could see it looked like Detroit had been bombed, and there's like house fires, at least 18 to 20 of them that were fairly substantial.
Yeah.
And I can't blame those people, because if I had kids and they had to walk by 3 crack houses to get to school, and and then one day a year you're allowed to just go nuts and burn shit down, those houses would go up in smoke.
Yeah.
They did.
I had a friend who lived down there, tried to actually invite me to come down there on Devil's Night because she loves the city and it's really cool to sit on the roof of my loft and listen to the gunshots. It's nice to know what your idea of a relaxing time is. Woo!
Relaxing, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like you go down there now, it still looks like a war zone. It's worse. It looks worse than Beirut or Hiroshima,
Yeah, it's
or
pretty damn bad.
Nagasaki. There are whole blocks that are just gone. They're nothing but just fields now.
We got a guy from Madison Heights in the chat. Hey, how you doing?
But yeah, I mean, listen, you're not going to see the problems that get corrupted or that get fixed in Wayne County, which is where Detroit is located,
No.
until you go in and systematically just destroy the corruption. Because it is up to the judges are corrupt, the cops, the mayor. I mean, the
law, the
school
judge, the butcher, the
board,
baker, the
everything
candlestick maker.
is just fucking. It doesn't work.
Yeah. And yet, the people who live in these situations and get victimized by these corrupt motherfuckers keep voting strict party line every time. Why? Because welfare, breadcrumbs, and reasons.
Yeah, well, because like 4 to 6 months before any election, the Democrats show up, promise them all kinds of shit. They vote for them, and then they just disappear for another 4 years.
Yep.
I mean, it happened in Baltimore, Detroit. I mean, all of these blue cities are rotting, and the reason they're rotting is they're straight up corrupt.
Yep. And yet we're still supposed to feel sorry for them. Here we go. They're race baiting less than 2 sentences in. The illegal inflated property tax assessments resulted in an estimated 100,000 Detroiters, most of them stunning and brave BIPOC, losing their homes to foreclosure. Stop voting for these corrupt motherfuckers. You go further down here, and they talk about how there's been no monetary or any sort of compensation whatsoever. And of course, they're, oh man. As a law professor and law professor, I believe the legal logic is flawed. It's just, it's really, really hilarious watching these people weasel their way around.
If the city is overtaxing people to this point where they can't afford to live there, and it is somewhere somebody lost a lawsuit somewhere that's happening, people need to start going to prison.
Yep. And then you pull the trigger, quite literally, and jump on over to Grand Rapids, you're going to see roughly more of the same here.
And the BLM showed up to march because of another person who was killed by the cops.
Stunning and brave, violent criminal. Caught on body cam, resisting arrest, going for the cop's gun.
That was so stupid, man.
Yep. So what is the here? Grand Rapids Police Chief Eric Winstrom released 4 videos. The fatal encounter began when Loya was unarmed, stopped for driving a car with a license plate didn't match the vehicle, exiting the car, ignoring the officer's commands, trying to flee. Then he tried to grab the cop's stun gun during a struggle that lasted about 90 seconds before he was shot after the officer ordered him to drop the taser. And, of course, you get people who look like this wandering around and protesting because,
I'm telling you right now, it's just a matter of time before everyone on both sides is carrying guns.
Yep.
And these people these BLM or Antifa are going to show up doing their fucking stupid shit.
They're already doing it.
And people who have reached the end of the rope are going to start slinging lead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way this works.
And it doesn't help when we have now reached the point. We have gotten to where the legal apparatus and the media apparatus
are lying
and juggling their numbers to try to further the narrative that makes these people feel justified to go out. And this is where we get into that fanatic idealism.
Hang on. Let me ask the philosopher a question.
Of course.
All right there, wild man. When did you start to realize that our media machine is feeding us propaganda and bullshit?
It was a long time ago. When I was younger, in my 20s, mid-30s, I realized these things are not what's actually happened. When I started traveling the world, traveling around, as part of my job is moving around a lot. I lived in China for like 14 years. I've lived all over the place, and I've seen a lot. I know a lot of what's going on, and then I watch the news. It's like, no, that's not what happened. That's not what's going on. What are you talking about? That's total bullshit. You're lying. You're lying through your fucking teeth. I know you're lying. I was there. I saw this shit.
I know
it didn't happen that way.
I know. When I was in Iraq.
The accent just makes it so much better. I feel like I'm talking to a good fella.
I was in Iraq in 2004. I mean, and like some pretty major things went down. And I remember watching it on MSNBC and CNN from our talk, watching on the big screen the news, and I'm like, wait a minute, that didn't fucking happen. None of this is fucking real. What the fuck is going on? That's not even a picture of the location.
They're in a studio.
I'm like, and once I saw that, I'm like, okay, something crazy is going on here, and we're calling it out.
Absolutely,
it is blatant now, and in my opinion, they're doing it because they really want to see the two-way rifle range kick off.
Because then they can report on it and sell ads to companies that no longer exist. Yeah, your game plan is really great.
Well, and here's another thing: in the next Civil War, the media is not going to be treated like it was in the first Civil War, where you're like, all right, you stay on that hilltop and just write down what you see and paint pictures or whatever, and then the guy with the camera could come down and take pictures after it's all over.
Oh, no, the media is going to be in the top tier of the headhunting list.
That's absolutely correct, because they are participating in psyops.
Yep.
And the U.S. military has psyop units because it's recognized as a weapon.
Yep. That's absolutely true. CNN, the most trusted name in butt stuff. What do you mean I'm naked on a Zoom call? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
they call me Zubin Tubin.
Didn't he get rehired?
I don't know. I don't know if it was that he got rehired or if they never let him go in the first place.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
All right, what's our roll call?
I still don't know how Stelter has a job over there, of all people.
Yeah, that dude's an idiot.
All right, we're going to start off with Twitch here. A quick roll call. We got 73 people currently watching on Twitch. I see Calebon and Two Leg over in the chat there. How you guys doing? We got 63 currently watching on DLive, 77 on Odyssey. Hopefully the feed over there is working better than it did the other night. 515 currently watching over on Rumble. It's good to see everybody. And 35 on MGTOW.tv. And we went from 665 to 680. Skipped over the mark of the beast entirely. Damn it. It would play so well.
Yeah, we're a little light today. A little light.
It is what it is. We're going to start working our way up. We got 301 likes. Keep smashing that like button like a virgin's clit on prom night. It's very important.
Wow, that's a little super descriptive.
That's what I'm here for.
I gotcha. Well,
although you don't want to thumb it too hard, because as soon as you do, like, she's going to know that you're inexperienced. Be like, hey, how's that go, babe? Pretty bad, actually. Don't touch.
No touchy.
You no touchy. You get the fuck over there. You not touch egg roll. All right. So, as always, we bring receipts. Philosopher's like, what the fuck am I doing here with these guys?
Come on, man.
All receipts available on Redonkulas.com if you guys want to check this out. This is hilarious. And we've been telling you this for years. Numbers don't lie. The media buries the race of murderers when they're not white. And this has gotten worse since George Kirby Taylor Floyd committed suicide by fentanyl. By the way, George Kirby Taylor Floyd, almost 2 years sober. Congratulations. We're going to jump over here. I know I'm an asshole.
That's mean.
How far into the article do papers mention a murderer's race? If they are BIPOC, 70% of the way through the article, sometimes as late as the last paragraphs. I love this. Categories 40 and 60%, blank. Less than 10% mention it in the first 20%. Now, if you are a white supreme pizza, which everybody is now, apparently, if you're melanin challenged, the first 10 to 20% of the article, always, virtually always.
If it's a white dude.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's so obvious. It's because I listen to these news things on the media, and when like there's a big shooting and they give the guy's name, and that's all I know. It was a person of color who did the crime.
Yep.
Because if he's white, it's mentioned.
Exactly. After Floyd's murder, it says right here, on the left, black perpetrator before, slightly higher, still not even 10%, drops to under 5% afterwards in the overall. White, just under 15%. After George Kirby, Taylor Floyd, off
Boom.
the chart.
Off the chart. Yep.
But hey, you know, I guess it must be that privilege that I hear so much about.
Yeah, the whole white privilege thing. That's just another thing they use to try to shut you up if you're white.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever heard of a white shooter or even a white car driver who thinks that the sidewalk is the expressway? You know, never mind all the people. Have you ever, you know, seen CNN or somebody try to darken a white man's skin to try to get them off of
No, I've never seen
responsibility
that.
for
I've
that?
never seen that.
No, but you've seen it on CNN.
And this,
Remember the
this
Waukesha guy?
Yeah, look at that. I mean, what the fuck? It's so obvious.
Isn't that amazing?
And here's the funny part, right? If you have two goddamn brain cells that rub together, you can easily detect this shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look how pixelated his beard looks. That happens when you push the shadows up in a picture too far.
Yep.
Because the shadows is where all of the color noise resides. I'm going full dork on you with the tech stuff, but
I gotcha.
But I know, like, you lift the shadows up too much, that's what happens. You get like this pixelated, grainy, splotchy look, and that's what we're seeing here.
Yep.
Hilarious. And the guy who just committed the Brooklyn shooting idealized this man. He idolized him. He loved him.
Yeah, and I believe he's been picked up.
I'm not sure, actually. I haven't heard a whole lot about that.
They
The fat
arrested
guy,
him.
the fat black
big
guy,
fat
the
black
recommend
guy.
pits. Yeah.
Yep, and then the story just disappeared.
Oh, yeah.
Of course,
Of
yeah.
course.
And we still don't know why in the Waukesha thing there were SWAT out and for hours long after they apprehended this dude. Mm-hmm. And, you know,
For 6 hours.
yeah, and of course in Brooklyn it was just a coincidence, just like a certain child trafficker who definitely did not kill himself, that the cameras happened to be off. Like, really? The cameras are off
Yeah, that's
in a
ridiculous.
subway stop in New York?
That's great.
Yeah. And let's see, there was a bunch of smoke bombs were let off, and then he went down there and just shot what 16 people or something.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody died yet.
I don't know. At the time, there were no fatalities. It was like upwards of 20 injured.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of weapon was he using? Was he like using a 22 or a BB gun?
I don't know. I mean, when you are that morbidly obese and that nuts, I really think you're just kind of going down there hoping to hit something.
I don't know, man. Somebody needs to brush up on their skills because that's some rookie ass numbers. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You remember there was that there was a shooting in California, Stan, years back. It was they called themselves the Eho Brothers or something like that. There were these two guys in a big white Chevy Suburban. Cops unloaded everything they had, didn't even hit these guys. And then there was a kid, I forget what state it was, a long time ago. He shot 8 bullets and hit 9 people. How does somebody go in with smoke bombs and tear gas and body armor and the whole nine, wound over 20 people and not get one of them? That's astonishing.
Well, and maybe they were lucky.
Well, so this is what happens when you give leftoids a gun. Because they think
Just
that
a
the
good
gun
thing.
is, a traumatizing experience in and of itself. So they're going to be afraid to shoot it.
Yep. Yeah, you got a point there.
Woo!
Whirl.
Good times. But, ooh, there we go.
That's a good one.
The media is not alone.
Okay.
Now we have the FBI.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, we know the FBI is completely bumfuck corrupt. They
No.
are pants on their head, cocks in their hand, insane at this point.
Well, with all of the like the Whitmer investigation and the January 6th stuff falling apart, you're starting to see that the alphabet agencies are becoming the brown shirts for the current administration.
Yep. Now, this person, who I'm sure is a very trustworthy journalist, Ishika N. Harrison.
Here we go.
Okay, so, well, it's not true because they have a separate category now for ethnicity.
All
Okay,
right.
the only reason you would need that is if you fully intend to lie with statistics.
That's exactly what they're doing.
And we're going to take a look at a few tables right now.
Let me give you this one point here. If you look at the race and ethnicity, right? They pull Hispanic, they call it ethnicity, and it's taken away. They basically pulled that out of the race side. But they have a distinct DNA signature.
Yes.
Just like the Chinese, for the African Americans, Philippines, what have you. They have a specific gene type. Hispanics are a race.
Yes.
That is undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
When you boil it down to DNA footprints, it is a race.
Yeah.
And they are purposely taking the Hispanic, ethnicity, blending it with Caucasian to make the whites look more violent when you look at the stats.
Yep. So let's check it out here. You can see it with your own two eyes. If you can't read it, I'm going to make sure I go through and tag everything for you here with my mouse here. Mm-hmm. They have total crime here. White, black or African American, American Indian or Alaskan Native. I love how we can get down to the gnat's ass of Alaskan Native, but we can't include Hispanics in this.
Correct.
Asian, which again, Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese. I mean, you can go. We don't need to be that specific for them.
All the eases.
Yep. And then Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander.
Yep.
Okay. And then if you scroll over here, total res, then you have Hispanic or Latino, not Hispanic or Latino. There's no reason for this differentiation other than
to obfuscate.
We need to pad some numbers here.
They're hiding numbers. It's
just like they take every race-based crime, even if it's committed by a BLM member, and they move it over and call it a far-right extremist crime.
Well, they lighten the picture and just move it over to the whites.
Now, you want to see something funny, because this is something I picked up on after you sent me this second chart.
I told you these charts were going to come in
2017. Jump to 2019. Now, we're still in the Trump years. Take a look at the total crimes here. 8.16 million. Trump years, all of a sudden, it drops.
Wow.
To 6.8 million.
That's like 1.5 million less.
That is huge.
It's a big, Well, look at the whites. Look at the whites.
Yep. Oh my gosh! Oh, we're so violent and terrible, way. Yeah, they actually expect you to believe that all of the data accumulated over decades suddenly flipped on its head when you start, counting the data this way, just like they skewed their numbers with inflation.
But you see how they do the percent distribution, right?
Yes.
Whites are 69.4.
Yep.
All right, now if you move over to the right, okay, you see the arrests, keep going. You see the percent distribution here, Hispanic, Latino?
Yes.
19.1.
Yep.
You need to subtract that 19.1 away from the 69.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that would be 70.
I don't know. There could be ways that they're measuring the non-Hispanic or Latino that we don't even know that could subtract even more. There's no way to
but
tell.
the thing is, when you look at this, you're like, you could basically spitball this by taking 22% off of the whites and move it over to the category where it should be, Hispanic.
And even then, thanks to 2020, now you go over here, we're in the actual FBI crime data reporter for the year 2020. Now, if you don't know to look for it, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see offender age, victim age, whatever. You have to know to click on violent crime offender by race. And thanks to George Kirby Taylor Floyd, BIPOCs are at the top of the heap again.
Yep, and you see right here, you got the
overachievers,
right? You got the whites.
Yeah,
at 27,
yep.
270.
And this is the victim race. This includes whites and Hispanics. We know that.
But if you take out the 22% off of there and put it where it should be under the Hispanics, I mean, the Hispanics make up 8% of our population,
something like that,
and roughly. They do like 20% of the violent crime. And you have the African American population make up 13% of the population, and they're responsible for over half of all violent crime.
Yep.
And that violent crime is committed basically by African Americans between the ages of 16 and 40.
Yeah. And what's really screwed up, and we've mentioned this several times, is that you can explain away most of the violent crime by just simply narrowing it down to fatherless homes.
Correct.
Because that's not a race thing.
No.
I mean, it might as well be when you look at the distribution, because, you go from 75 down to its closest peer, which is around 25. That's insane.
Well, the thing is,
And that implies targeted marketing of that culture, too.
correct. But what they're not really understanding here is when the white race in America has out of birth wedlocks, babies being born on comparable levels to the black community, this nation will not survive.
No.
It will collapse in chaos. There will be all kinds of nutty shit going on.
Yeah.
And that's a fact.
Yeah, and this is not, like we said before, this is not a race thing for me. This is a fatherless home thing. And these people who grew up in these conditions, they have my pity. Well, at least they have my pity while they're children.
Yeah.
They grow up and they start fucking around with gangs, and 80% of homicides are drug related. It's
I gotcha.
you can draw a lot of lines without using race. Just saying.
Yep, you certainly can.
Unless you're woke, then everything is all race.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're correct.
But I just wanted to show that. I wish I was digressing. I'm not. Black privilege on full display.
Here we go.
Hours after arrest, South Carolina mall shooter released on bail and allowed to go home and work. And by the way, I pointed this out earlier. That's a dude.
Yeah, that is the black equivalent of Pat from Saturday Night Live back in the day. Yep.
How dare we assume his gender?
I don't care. That looks like an angry chick.
Yeah.
That's an angry chick picture.
Yeah, they scraped his picture off the Aunt Jemima bottles, and now it's the Pearl Milling Company.
I'm just telling you. And he shot, 14 people?
Yes.
Between the ages of 15 and 73.
Mm-hmm.
And the same fucking day, he's out on bail with an ankle bracelet on.
Yep.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Oh, I love this GIF here. Nothing to see here. Please disperse.
So, if this dude does any more horse shit, and he's out on bail after shooting 14 people, I pity and head should roll now.
Yeah.
He should not be allowed to be out on bail. That is insane.
I mean, I don't know. Realist philosopher. If a white dude went out and shot up 14 people ages 15 to 73, would they get out on bail the same day?
No, they wouldn't see the light of day again. Are you kidding me? No, they'd be buried under the jail. No, they wouldn't get out at all.
We've got, privileged white folks whose only crime was wearing MAGA hats, carrying American flags, and sightseeing, taking selfies around the Capitol building January 6th last year, who are still in solitary confinement. And if I remember correctly, within the last month, one of them offed himself.
Oh,
yeah, there's going to be some serious lawsuits over that shit.
They are political prisoners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the thing is, because of a qualified immunity, those officers have a very minute chance of actually having any repercussions taken out against them.
Yep.
This is why that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Being a cop doesn't give you carte blanche, protection against violating my constitutional rights at will.
Absolutely
there needs to be repercussions for that. That needs to stop.
And what's even funnier is that the ass bags who are going around, burning, looting, and murdering in Grand Rapids over this clear-cut criminal, and the ones who've been doing it for the past 2 years, they claim, well, it's not about that. It's not about me, storming Target and walking out with $500 in Legos and fleshlights. No, it's about holding the police accountable. Any one of them going and picketing the Capitol Police after shooting an unarmed woman in the chest?
Nope.
Well, she was white. So.
She was white.
Yeah, she was white. Yeah. Oh, my God, is he killing? There's so many people. We need to do something about the guns. He was black. Oh, never mind.
There's a lot of white guys who've been murdered by the cops and nothing ever happens.
You remember that guy? I think it was in Arizona
guy on his
a few years ago. The guy on his knees. They were
hands
making
behind his back.
Yeah, they're like doing naked twister with him or some shit, and he disobeys one command. They fucking off him.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Wow.
If he was just a shade darker.
I'm
If
telling
somebody
you,
had photoshopped his picture.
I'm telling you, the police out there, if they keep, once they lose the support of the right, they're fucked.
It's already happening.
It's already happening.
After January 6th, it's already happening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and even before that, all of these, knucklehead cops going around enforcing unconstitutional, illegal COVID lockdown
Mandates.
maneuvers. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some governor says, hey, your business isn't essential, so you need to shut down.
Yeah, Walmart can stay open,
Yeah.
even though there's thousands of people in there every day.
Uh-huh.
But Joe Shit the Rag Bag, Gus and Brew, they have to close because it's a super spreader
No, I
event.
remember I went down to Aco Hardware, and I was buying some paint to work on some stuff around the house I have in Berkeley. And they're literally like, well, it's not deemed essential, so we can't sell it to you. I'm like, okay, well, I just want the white. How much is it? Oh, it's $30. I just walked up to put the paint down, took out $30, threw it on the counter. And I said, call the cops if you want. Fuck off. I need this fucking paint. What are you going to do? Ring it up as something else that's, I don't care. I'm taking this paint. I paid for it. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I just could not believe that.
Yeah.
I'm like, or auto parts.
Auto part, anything.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Whitmer saying that, you can't grow your own food while everything is closed down in your neck of the woods. Fuck off. We're going to make sure that they put a rope around gardening supplies in Walmart.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
Did you see this where you are, a philosopher, where you'd go around and you would see these stupid signs that would say, wear your mask. It's the law.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to walk around with a red Sharpie and be like,
No, it's not.
mandate, not to be confused with loose gay butt twerking queers.
You are correct, fine sir. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. The whole mandate horseshit is not a law, and there needs to be an ass load of lawsuits taking place over that as well.
Yep.
Like, if you owned a business that you were forced to shut down on a mandate, that there needs to.
There have been a lot of court cases that have already been won.
Yeah, I know.
Against these governors.
But the thing is, you can't make the governor pay because they have qualified immunity.
Yep.
So they're up there doing whatever the fuck they want, ruining, hundreds of thousands of people's lives. There's nothing you could do to me because I'm the governor. Even though I knew I violated the Constitutional of the United States and Michigan State, there's nothing you could do about
Violating their oath of office in the process,
Yes.
thereby nullifying their office.
Yeah, so, you get like, hey, I have qualified immunity and my vagina. That's why you can't do nothing.
Although with Whitmer, you can't be too sure. We could have a crying game situation over there in Lansing. I'm just saying. She looks a lot like Bruce Jenner.
Well, and I'm going to be honest, if things would have continued the way they were going, there would have been other people, coming to the forefront, and they would not be planning to kidnap her.
No. There'd be other stuff going on, and they wouldn't require FBI agents for that.
Well, if they know what they're doing, you just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You just do it.
We're not condoning that or anything.
No, I'm just saying, and unfortunately
We're still on YouTube,
for
Pop.
us,
We're still on YouTube.
Yeah, fortunately for us, the situation is better.
Yes.
But if it would have, I'm just saying, if it would have continued, it would get ugly.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. I mean,
how bad was it down by you, good sir? I know that. Allegedly, your state went for Biden in the last election. But was it as bad as some of the other like deep blue states? Michigan was pretty bad. New Jersey was awful. New York, California, Stan.
It wasn't as bad as you would find it in a blue state, but we did have the signs in the windows. You have to wear a mask if you want to come in. If I wanted to go food shopping, I had to put my N95 mask on, or cloth mask, a surgical mask. They didn't really care what kind of mask, just as long as you covered your face and obeyed. So we had mandates here. Some of them are still in place. I believe on the metro, public transportation, you still have to wear a mask.
That should be gone now, though.
It's not. Well, I know that they just ended the mandate, that federal judge, about having to wear masks on planes and all. But here, you do still have to wear a mask on the public transport.
hopefully that trickles down because they're pointless.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You look
The
like you're
masks
wearing a
don't work,
face diaper.
really. The surgical mask is only good for about 15 minutes if you wear it in a environment that is not the kind that you find in a hospital. You know, in a hospital surgical gallery, they have lots of HEPA filters. The air is very clean as it is. Surgical masks are not meant to be worn outside in the general, outdoor environment. So they clog up after about 15 minutes, which means they actually have the potential to make you sicker.
Yep.
Cloth masks don't do anything. And the N95 masks are only good to protect you, but anything you exhale will still be inhaled by somebody else unless they're also wearing an N95 mask. So it's pointless.
Yeah, because cloth masks, the average threading is 20 nanometers across. Kung flu is 5. So theoretically, you can fit 4 Kung flu viruses through one threading of your stupid
one
face
little
diaper.
square of the threads come together. Yeah, I got you.
Oh, no. Oh, square. Square.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop!
Never gets old.
Never gets old. No, because I remember in 19, I saw what was going on in China. I got on the phone. I called the Greenberry Express. I had meds shipped to me. I got on Amazon. I bought an ass load of masks and N95 masks, and I got oxygen generator, room cleaners, like the air filters, the whole deal. And it was literally on my doorstep within 10 days.
Yeah. All right. Philosopher, we have a question in the chat. We already know this to be true, but apparently it requires a public declaration. You used to be known by another name. Yes? Okay.
The MGTOW philosopher, that was back, that was a long time ago, but yeah.
And was that before? Is that the channel that got nuked by YouTube in 2017? Or
Absolutely. It got nuked, I believe it was January 2017. That was it, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Good
you know what?
times.
I mean, if we'd have had MGTOW in our channel name, we probably would have been shut down a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, I was I wasn't as sophisticated in regards to the rules and regulations of YouTube as other people, so I didn't really self-censor at all, and I still don't, which is why I'm shadow banned pretty much anywhere I post content anyway. But
Even
I continue
BitChute,
to.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, even BitChute shadow bans the hell out of me. I haven't had any growth on my
Same
channel
here.
for quite some time,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, our BitChute hit 19,000. I don't even know how long ago, and it's just kind of been in that area. We went from 33% audience engagement or more on average to 10% or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably around the same time they moved their base of operations to the UK, which explains a lot. One of the top 5 feminist countries in the world. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and, stunning and brave London mayor saying that, well, terrorism's just part and parcel of living in a major city.
Oh, Sadiq Khan, that midget? Yeah, that guy. Oh, God. Moron. Yeah, let's ban knives. So that's brilliant, pal.
Yeah, that's totally gonna work.
Now,
And how are you going to cook?
How are you
What
gonna
about
butter
the
your
chefs
bread?
out there? What are they going to do? Well, they can use scissors to cut the meat. Oh,
Yeah, use
that's
harsh
sharp, too.
language.
That's got a point.
yeah. Are you kidding me? Like, you can any piece
You
of
can make a
metal
knife.
that you
Yeah.
get your hands on, you can make it into
Yeah.
a knife of some type.
Yeah, if
a
they can
dude-
do it in prison with a toothbrush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on.
You just gotta burn it, all the right way and everything.
No.
There was a dude who made me a sharp as fuck knife out of a knife file,
Yeah.
and that thing is sturdy.
Yep. And then there was another guy, and I've heard about this from a friend of mine who had a relative of his go to prison. And in the metal shop where he was working, he would make bronze weapons. He took the copper and tin, made his own fucking bronze, and when people weren't watching, he was making, pokey knives and daggers and selling them on the fucking to prisoners and making a killing.
Yeah, the Biden administration would call them ghost knives now, I'm sure.
I mean, literally, he's just like, yeah, you can make a knife out of,
That's coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
They're going to be, well, we need to start putting serial numbers on anything sharp.
So
Put a serial number on your tombstone, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. Yeah, but the dude literally was, and he called them letter openers. So he's like, I'll sell you a letter opener. It was $16. In prison, that's a lot of money.
This murder brought to you by the letter P.
Yeah, and he sold between $3 and $30 a month for a good 3 or 4 years before they finally caught him.
Yeah.
And he got over, though. He didn't really get hammered too hard because he said, well, that's the only time I ever did it. They're like, okay.
Making a killing. No pun intended.
Because they were finding him. They're like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, wow.
Could be worse, I guess. It could be 3D printing gun parts because it's so dangerous.
Oh, my God. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, it's just a coincidence that Joe Biden talks about trying to pass anti-Second Amendment legislation via executive order, which will never fucking happen. And then within 48 hours, the cameras at the Brooklyn subway station mysteriously all go out at the same time as this mass shooting.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of tired of like these cameras failing.
Yeah. And why is it every time this happens, it's always somebody that used to be on the FBI watch list?
Yep.
It kind of makes you think that they know who these people are. They recruit them and then say, look, just keep a lid on the crazy for a little while. We'll let you go out and have fun when we need you.
Or they know what's going to flip this dude out, and they just flip the switches until he goes nuts.
Yeah.
That could be it, too. I don't know. Hell, I'm probably on the list myself.
The whole thing sounds very Manchurian Candidate.
It does. But, it's just weird how it always seems to come around important events.
Yeah.
There's always this mass shooting bullshit.
There's always,
and it's not all white people doing this either.
No. We've seen the graphic. Showed it last week.
Now, granted,
one of these things. It's not
if
like the
mass shooters who shoot a whole bunch of people, usually white, and I'm talking like more than 5. Okay, because anything 5 and lower is like gangland kind of stuff.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to bump those numbers up in this record.
I don't know. Like when gang members decide to start shooting at each other, they do the annoying things like shoot back, get behind cover.
It's so annoying when people
run, get behind concealment. Okay, but when a white dude decides he's going to do like a mass shooting, he shows up where you can't hide. It's going down, and it's incredibly just savage. Savage.
Speaking of savage, we're going to take a quick break to shout out our sponsor, and then we're going to get to your super chats, and then we're just going to interview this gentleman here because we need to talk about some woke shit. I want to break down this realism versus ideology thing. It's fascinating to me.
Fuck yeah.
All right, take a quick break. Dr. B Real coming at you.
The first wave, well, that was about voting. The second wave, that was about the pill. Double wah. The third wave, it was about securing more rights than men. And because we let it all happen, what does the fourth wave look like? Find out and arm yourself against the war for your soul and this country. You need these books here. Surviving Fourth Wave Feminism, Volumes 1 and 2. They're on sale now. Click on the link below in the description, because if you save masculinity, you're going to wind up saving the world.
It sounds like hyperbole. It's not.
It's not.
Because if there's one thing that has been a problem, especially in the modern age, it's not toxic masculinity, it's a lack of it.
Yep.
Oof.
And I would go as far as to say toxic feminism.
Yeah. And which is all part of that. I'm sorry, what?
There's no other kind.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, not anymore. You get like one rational feminist out of 100. And even then, they still believe in stuff that's been debunked for 40 years.
I would proffer that the entirety of feminism is irrational.
Yeah.
Well, most women operate irrationally.
Well, I mean, we've all seen the study. Over half of women under 30 who vote Democrat have a mental illness.
Yep, they're on some kind of pills.
Yes.
And you know what? If you're a young man looking for a wife and she's taking any kind of head meds, I hate to say it. I don't care how you feel about her. She's dead weight. Cut her away. You don't need that in your life.
Check the medicine
Please
cabinet,
do
gentlemen.
what I tell you.
Don't
Cut
do
it
the
away.
black chick thing. I hate when people do that.
I know. My youngest daughter used to do that. I'd be like, why are you clapping at me? Is that like make the words like supposed to register in my brain?
Putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable, you look like you're on your period. Stop it.
Could be.
Or get a little bit of the gonorrhea. You never know.
Gonorrhea. No.
Oh, my Lord.
All right, we're going to do a quick roll call and read some super chats here. We got 88 on Twitch, 68 on D Live with a 10 lemon donation from Drop to Hammer Now. Thank you very much. I see Jackal over there. I'm sure we're going to get some nice butts for this week. 89 on Odyssey, 46 on MGTOW.tv, 645 on Rumble, and we're up to 849 on YouTube.
Okay.
Outstanding. Let's read some Odyssey chats here. Oh, boy. Francois Le Chatain in the chat sending part 2 of the story.
I sent you, I think the first part 1, I sent it to your email.
Ah, got you.
Here, did you find it?
Okay, yeah, here we go. I will try to make this comment perfectly YouTube friendly, but it might be hard to do.
No.
So as I was listening to the part of the show where you were talking about the manual transmission community last Thursday night, some reflection came to my mind. Basically concerning, in particular, those actual female inmates in certain prisons of California and other states who happen to have become pregnant precisely after people who identify as women or female were allowed by the courts to join them there. I told myself, well, I suppose that those real women can't go anywhere or see anyone they want since they're in jail, just manage to knock themselves up, huh? Or is this coming from a lifelong practicing Catholic? Simply got pregnant through the work of the Holy Spirit. Just like the Virgin Mary, according to the Gospel. Quelle pure cerise. What a pure cherry. I'm sorry. What surprise? Quelle surprise.
Well, the thing is these people are going into prison.
Yeah.
And the big head is going, I identify as a female. But the little head is like, what the fuck you talking about?
Yeah.
We're going to get in there and go crazy.
I mean,
yeah.
The first instance, aside from, I think, genocide on our show, where we talked about a particular article involving a person from this community, was a trans male who got pregnant by their gay partner. And that made my head go, okay, so let me get this straight.
It's kind of, you have to like, you're like, okay.
So you said that you were a man so you could get with this gay dude so you could have heterosexual relations and wind up pregnant.
Okay, we're going to have to go with a big fuck off.
Okay. I'm just going to leave it there.
It's fucking crazy.
Wow.
I mean,
Just saying.
Come on, philosopher. You know that's fucking nuts.
That's nuts, yeah. How did that happen anyway? I mean, if the guy is gay, wouldn't it be anal instead of, how are you going to get somebody pregnant that way? You'd have some backdoor action going on there. It wouldn't be anything that could get you pregnant. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Well, apparently somebody let a swimmer get by the goalie.
Apparently. Well, that could happen. That's true.
Maybe he
Somewhere in
should.
that equation, something that was not dishwasher safe was introduced to somebody's orifice, and it took root, and
leakage.
there you go.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Yeah. Possible.
You got
Women are crazy about that stuff. You know,
Yeah, listen.
first time you spunk on a lady's belly or something, she thinks that she's going to turn you on and be like, oh, yeah, I'm a little dab, little taste, kind of nasty, not going to lie, but I'll allow it. And then all of a sudden she dabs her finger and starts going into, oh, shit, I better call my lawyer.
You're screwed then. There's nothing you can do about it.
Maybe that was going on.
Yeah. Once the bullseye's hit, you can't unring that bell
Very
as a man. As a woman, you can do whatever you want and get away with it.
Yes. Yeah, men, we don't have that. We have this thing called accountability and responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
We're not allowed to get away with anything. Jackal the Emperor. Psst, Blake, check out the Redonkulas email for a confession of mine and some shit on your past fling. My past fling?
Oh, no.
Oh, you
God.
bastard.
That's good. I like it.
He photoshopped my head on this, you mother fornicator. Why do I look like I've been diving into the black licorice? What the fuck?
What are you talking?
It's disgusting. Blake wanted to repress the nightmare, but I'm here to help him remember. Let's all be Blake's brain so he doesn't forget.
Nice.
I don't have a green notebook. He says, all right, up to this point, the worst and smelliest things that I've had happen to me was getting fart nuked from 10 to 15 feet away. But, we already saw her. Huh? I'll confess that I have been directly gassed. I was just playing 7 Days to Die with a buddy until the door next to me opened and all I saw was ass. Next thing I knew, the only thing that spared me, the pure stench, was this thin piece of cotton in the form of panties. Reaper, I'm aware of the horrendous shit you've been through, and I'm glad the worst I ever got was just a bare ass to the face followed by a methane blast. Still stunk like a shit pit after Spicy Chili Thursday, but not the worst that could have happened at the moment. The following is a clip from a friend's stream, and I'm the guy heard in the background. Here's proof of my failure to assess my surroundings. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Is this gonna... All right.
What the? Oh. Holy shit.
Nice.
Oh.
It didn't play very loud, but I've got my settings set up very, very loud.
I gotcha.
So it might be the Skype thing being up. Who knows?
Could be.
Pretty funny shit. Yeah, Jackal told one hell of a tactical fart nuke story, and yes, we're gonna have that made into a Grunt Speak short because it's hilarious.
God, that was terrible.
Calebon, where I live, no one else on the ticket for the vote most of the time, so they're unopposed on it. That can happen in a lot of small towns. Andreas Christian, in an elderly home, the state had to fix 2 crooked steps. Price 780,000 euros in France. 4 local contractors said F this shit and fixed it themselves. 1,000 euros for man hours and 500 euros for cement and other stuff they needed. Point is, too much government means too many pockets need to be filled.
Absolutely correct.
Absolutely.
That's the corruption.
It's like, it reminds me of Independence Day. You don't really think they need $30,000 on a hammer, $20,000 on a toilet seat, do you?
Yep.
Mr. Wright says, what's this button do? It donates $10, thank you. Andreas Christian, I do not comply with any mandates.
It's actually good reasoning right there.
Yes.
I get it.
Especially if you put a pause in it. Just say. Calebon, 4 of the past 5 governors in Illinois are sitting in jail right now. Talk about Chicago ruining the rest of the state.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Did you know that, realist philosopher? That's amazing.
What's that?
4 of the 5 past governors in Illinois are in jail.
I did not.
On that.
It's almost like...
Were they all Democrats?
Yeah, they're all
No.
Democrats.
Big
It's almost
shocker.
like they attract corruption. Or they have, just like Disney, cultivated this entire legion of monsters. And they said, come on over here, we've got cookies. Come to the dark side.
They're grooming.
Okay, groomer.
God damn.
Rat bastards. All right, jumping over to MGTown.tv, we got Crazy Uncle. Email at reaching for the next patch 12. I got sent a video that you might enjoy. Don't worry, it's not too long. I'm sure you can handle it. FYI, it is too spicy for boob tube.
Okay.
So it's just for you guys. Young Pop meets an elf.
Oh, no.
Okay. Maybe we can watch this on New Tech. It looks like I'm going to have to download it.
Yeah. Okay.
You rad bastard. And he's got a few more donations here all back to back. If you want to know what the socialists want for us, just look at what they're doing in China.
I've been saying that for a while.
Yep. Or Venezuela. It's actually worse than most people realize. The reason why they can't do it here is simple. It's called the Second Amendment.
Yep.
Yep. And that's why we have had not 1, but 2 very public mass shootings in a week.
And we're up to, 26 states that have constitutional carry.
And I hope it continues.
Me too. When it
needs to
gets
be
to
50.
36 or 38, Some shit's going to go down.
Shit's going down. Pop says his door-kicking days are over. Mess with his family and or friends, and like all other vets, you see how fast the training kicks in.
Yeah, like I keep saying, if you get me to that point where I need to set up on you, you're fucked. You're done.
The philosophy of a riot. Let's burn everything down to include the grocery store. Then call everyone else racist. We have no infrastructure or food.
That's pretty much how that went. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have any food. We're going to annex this whole part of the city. Don't you love that? There was an actual insurrection in Seattle in 2020. They called it the Summer of Love.
Chaz Chop.
Yeah, the Chaz Chop. That's fine. But a bunch of, tourists taking selfies at the Capitol.
After they were let in.
After they were let in and left all their weapons outside.
Yeah.
Armed insurrection. Oh, my God.
Yeah, didn't those Chaz Chopians, weren't a lot of them walking around with, AR-15s?
Yes.
And you had that wannabe rapper dude.
Yep.
Handing them out of the trunk of his car.
I wonder what happened to that
You know how
guy.
to use this? I think so. Here you go. Here's an AR-15.
Hey, give me
to
one
some
of those
like
over there,
18-year-old kid.
Yeah, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about what could go wrong.
Listen,
Good idea Fairy was present that day.
if you know how to use a rifle, you are incredibly dangerous.
Yes. Just like if you don't give a fuck.
Well, if you don't give a fuck and know how to use a rifle, you're infinitely more dangerous.
Humdinger. Crazy Uncle again here. Hey, Blake, I know you take a lot of sheet, but here is something to make you feel better. In the book series Battletech, there's a religion called the Word of Blake. No shit. That's
Nice.
cool. I didn't know about that.
I never heard of that. I think
Let's check it out.
All right.
With the subway shooter, he only held the pistol at a 90-degree angle and began to fire. He kept the pistol at abdominal level, plus it jammed, and he didn't know how to clear it. Gut shot's going to hurt, but usually not fatal.
Well,
It depends on what bullets you use, I would say.
and where you're getting hit.
Yeah. Because, they hit you in the liver or something,
If it's like a hollow point bullet,
you're fucked.
you're fucked.
Crazy Uncle email number 2. He says, don't worry, it's not a video. All right. Not going to write out this true wango tango, so you'll have to deal with this one. I was taken to the titty bar for the first time in years. Not only was the beer expensive, but the real surprise was when a female asked if I wanted to get a dance. Back in the day, it was 20 for a dance, and you would get about 5 minutes. Now you have to give another 20 to the bouncer before you can even go get a dance. And the dance is only about a minute and a half at best. It gets worse. It didn't take more than a minute before the dancer offered additional services. When I said no, she said, don't worry, you paid off the bouncer. I, as politely as possible, told that woman to get off me so I can leave and give myself a bath with pure bleach. I still feel dirty just typing this out.
Well, that's how you get yourself a dick worm.
Yes. Friends, don't let friends go to the strip club. It's a relic of the past, and it should be left there, and the same applies to OnlyFans.
I go to a titty club once in a while. It's not a big deal. But I usually go there just to drink and look. I don't do like the lap dances or anything crazy stuff.
I've never gone.
No, that's where I got the name for Ouzo.
Ouzo?
It's called Drink Your Vomit.
Nice. Oh. Philosopher, you ever been to a titty bar? Shake it club?
Once. Highly underwhelming experience.
I know they have some good ones out there in Phoenix.
Oh, not here. No, when I was really young, I was just curious, and I found it to be just blasé and didn't do it for me.
Oh, no.
He's got some good memories going through his thinking meat right now.
I spent some time in a few of the Shake It clubs on my way to the gym because they actually had good food.
Yeah?
On what was it, a Thursday? You got like a steak and 2 beers for like $10.
Nothing wrong with
I
that.
get a steak and 2 beers either on the way back from the gym or on the way to the gym.
Hey, as long as the buffet is good. Oh, good. Around here in Detroit, from what I understand, you get a whole lot of C-section scars.
Yes, you see a lot of crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of single mamas up there just trying to pay their way through medical school. Sure. By the way, I can tell that you powder your nose from the inside. I paid us a funny story about masks. So there was this I was in the potato state, which is 95% red, including the place where I was at. I didn't believe in the scamdemic. I needed a grocery shop, so I went to a Walmart in my area without a mask, and there were employees outside stopping people to try and enforce the mask mandate. If you didn't have one, they encouraged you to buy one in the store. Scumfucks.
All right. Now, during the whole mandate thing, I did wear the masks when I went to the stores. I just didn't want the headaches.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to deal with people. I just put the mask. Most of the time, I had it under my nose, and I just breathed in and out through my nose, and I went through the, whole, the motions, and I did what I had to do and went home.
Yep. First time I went to a movie during all this crap, they were like, "Oh, you need to wear a mask." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I took one of those neck gaiters with me, and it had loopholes to go over my ears. So I went and I sat in my seat. As soon as the lights dimmed, I took it off from around my ears, spun the fucker around, split the hole over my nose. I'm like, fresh air.
I like it.
And then, of course, all these double masking leftoids, because it was quite near Detroit, they all go outside afterwards, take off their double mask, and light up a fucking cigarette.
Yep. Bunch of idiots.
Yeah. Crazy Uncle, the only toxic masculinity is a female that is too masculine. That would include all feminazis. Just look at how butch they all are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why, unfortunately, stunning and brave BIPOC women are at the bottom of the dating pool. It's because they are perceived of as being far too masculine and confrontational.
I just don't want to deal with it. At my age, I am not going to butt heads with a woman on a regular basis. I'd just rather be alone.
Yeah. J371, a female friend has been questioning my MGTOW views. I sent her your video, Phantom Holiday. Her response was, "I can't watch that. It's too depressing." Bitch, try it from my end. You'll never know how demoralizing it is to be reduced to being a part-time father to a young boy who desperately needs his dad. Great to see the realist philosopher here.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people were recognizing your voice, I think, from before, because I was reading the chat. They're like, "Oh, I know that voice. He's got to be the MGTOW guy."
But that was the main reason we couldn't make in those videos, because they're all just incredibly depressing.
Yep. We did our thing, and then we went comedy and never looked back. Arrow Shogun, Biden wants to tax what remains of Russian and Belarusian ammo imports by 30%. So expect prices to jump between now and the day the last valid import license expires. This pedo is the most anti-2A president I've ever seen, but I'm going to gravel pits and picking up brass and saving scrap lead for cheaper reloading. They know that day is coming. Get what you can.
Yep.
Can't argue with that.
No.
All right. IFID on YouTube. Hey, Pop, I'm a fatty McFatface.
Okay.
Tried to eat my depression away for a long time. Any advice on starting a fitness routine for Mr. Mobius over here?
Well, one, you'd stop eating. Not completely. But if you ate your way in, Bill Burr said it best. You ate your way in, you can walk your way out.
Yeah. I think Mobius might have made more money at the box office than Morbius. We should probably make that movie.
Yeah. But like you get yourself up to walking at a medium to brisk pace. You start off at 1 mile and you get to about 5. You can walk about 5 miles in like an hour and 10 minutes. And you just set the alarm, get up, walk your 5 fucking miles every day. Then go to work, and don't go crazy on the meals. And listen, I've seen this happen to a lot of fatty McFats that I had to deal with in the Army, and I called it the marriage phenomena. And it doesn't have to. You can have a girlfriend, whatever. But I had 2 guys come in. Both of them were overweight, not by much. And I brought them in for 3 weeks, and day 1, PT test. If they passed, then they only had to do 1 week. Okay. If they, at the end of the week, they took another PT test. If they failed it, they had to go to week 2. And I did that for 3 weeks. And at the end of the 3rd week, I had one guy lost 17 pounds and the other guy lost 1. Because the guy who lost 1 was married, And he would go home at the end of the night, and she's like, "Oh, you're so tired. Here's an extra potato, and I'll pour you an extra beer." And like quite literally, he was just re-eating the calories he just burned off. So like I smoked the shit out of that guy. I got him to lose weight, and then I like at the following family day when his wife came in, I literally was like, "Quit feeding him so much goddamn food. He's in the goddamn army and he's fat." And you know, what do you gotta do? Sometimes you just gotta yell at people.
Yeah. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the main thing. Is it's all a numbers game. Unless you're one of those unlucky people who legitimately has there's like 2 or 3 ultra rare conditions where you eat and still gain weight, and you can eat like 200 calories and somehow your body still gets bigger. Most people don't have that.
No, it's very rare.
Yeah.
That's why, you see these people like, Tess Holiday. Well, I tried the dieting and the exercise thing. Like,
No, you didn't.
no, that passes when you're like 200, not when you're 350.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fighting with my weight, and I've been for years.
Yeah.
Once you get over like 35, it really gets challenging.
It's very difficult. Sucks Pet says pool endeavors. Ooh, it's a bad joke. Coach lead filled. I sincerely hope not.
Yeah, I hope he's okay.
Yeah. Channel 1-800 honors Papa and Blakey, all the lads and the wrenches. Would be cool with another collab with Brother Hammerhand when possible. Maybe looking at a self-deletion topic. Not sure. Much homo love to y'all.
All right, cool.
I don't want any homo.
That would be a good idea to get Hammerhand on and talk. We should actually get 4 or 5, people from the red pill community, men's rights or whatever, and we just talk about male suicide.
Hey, why not?
We get like different people's perspectives on it.
Yes, absolutely.
Would you be interested in something like that, philosopher?
Absolutely.
Because it's a huge problem, and
Yes, it is.
it has been off the hook since Vietnam.
Yes. It just gets worse every year. And now, because women have decided they're just the same as us, their numbers are climbing.
Yeah, and it's all over the media. It's a big deal.
You wanted the burden of masculine performance, ladies. It doesn't look good on you.
No.
It never looks good on a corpse. K to the Swiss. I knew the media was lying when you could flip from Fox to CNN during Desert Shield and Desert Storm, both talking about the same battle and both held opposite opinions of the conflict.
Yep.
Yeah. That was pretty stupid. Channel 1-800 Shh. Obligatory projectile.
Ah! You almost got me there.
Next time.
Yeah.
Else knows. It's curious. The Boulder, Colorado shooting suspect, a dude named Ahmed Al-Issa, is in custody 2 years after the fact, but no motive has been released.
Yeah, that's something that...
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of changes that have to take place, after the two-way rifle range. Because there's a lot of horse shit that's taking place now that just needs to be fixed.
Yep. Alex Patino, I remember when my recruiters showed up to sign me up for the Army in 2002. I was classified as white Hispanic, and I'm brown as can be.
Yeah, I've had that too.
Oh, like George Zimmerman?
Well, no,
He's a white guy.
I had some soldiers standing before me and swear up a stack of Bibles that they're white, and I'm like, black. First sergeant, I'm white. All right, I draw a line through the black, and I write
Holy shit. That's
black. They get all pissed off. I had to go. I got yelled at by the EO rep.
That's funny shit.
I'm just like, listen. I just call him as I see him, and he's black.
Channel 1-800 no worries. Successful endeavors, bro. Blake, another UFO. It's too early, man. But I'm gonna, just put a few rounds in the chamber.
Oh, you bastard!
I know. I'm awful. Polska Bob with a $20 donation.
Thank you.
Blake is the guest formerly known as MGTOW Philosopher. Yes, we already did that. And get a guitar stand for fuck's sakes. Fine. I'm going to leave it there just to spite you, fucking Polak. Sam Whiskey. Blake, how many shotgun weddings have you been to? Actually, not too many where the bride was pregnant, at least not obviously pregnant.
That's usually a big faux pas.
Yeah. No, I did one last year. Actually, no, it wouldn't have been last year. It'd be 2020 now, where she was pregnant and didn't know it yet. And then, I get the phone call like 7 months later. "Hey, can your wife do a maternity shoot for us?" I'm like, naughty. Like, no, we didn't know. Like, sure you did.
Yeah, my grandfather used to call it, maternity mix-ups. Yeah, because I remember I was like 8. I'm in the car, and he's like going on about this. He had his like secretary in the car. And they were talking about the upcoming schedule, and she's like, "Oh yeah, well that married woman's pregnant, so we need to move it up so she doesn't look pregnant when she walks down the aisle." He's just like, "Oh, they know how this shit works. You get married first, and then you do that." God damn.
Oh my God, she's wearing a white dress.
Yeah, and I thought that was hilarious.
Interesting question here from Sam Whiskey. Pop, what are the top 5 militaries in the world?
Oh, it would be in my opinion, I would say the American Army. China and Russia probably compete for second and third. And then after that, I'm just going to say it, the English Army, from the guys I knew when I was in Iraq, those dudes were bad motherfuckers. I mean, their op orders were just insanely lax. And I remember, like, sitting in on a couple of them, like, what? What? All right, lads, we're assembling here, and we're going to move northwestern for 3 or 4 clicks. And then you're going to do a turn to the left, and you're going to go another click, and you should see the objective. And we'll call you. We'll give you the sign. We'll shoot up a flare, and then we shoot them, and we just secure the objective. I'm like, no! Someone's going to die! Oh, my God! And, like, I wouldn't even get out of the vehicle. I'm like, those guys are fucked. Someone's going to get shot.
You're going to get shot. Someone's going to die.
No, I just was working the radio on that op. That was nuts.
Well, it gives you the top 4. You got a last one? Japan, India, any of them?
I would probably go with either India or Australia. Australia, I met some of those guys too, and I know the new Australian Army is all like
foo
fucked up. So is the American Army now. I shudder at what the Army's going to look like in 5 years. It's going to be a clown show.
Yeah, we're hoping to get Fitzwell back on the show next week to talk about the new equity objectives of the Pentagon.
Well, I'm trying to get an old former commander of mine on here.
Yes.
The Greek.
Don't hate me. Atomic Dimension Traveler. He asked for it.
God damn it.
It's a deep fake philosopher, don't worry.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, man, she looks
been
like
so bad.
she looks like Ash's girlfriend after she goes all buck nasty demonic in the first Evil Dead.
God damn it. And when she's like facing away and you're looking at her ass, I'm just imagining Mrs. Clinton falling downstairs, and I'm like, oh my God.
Well, that's a much more pleasant picture. M. Pujo, Blake asks Siri to translate 5010 Hull from English to French and let her speak. I actually don't have Siri enabled on my phone. I guess I can try.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't want it listening in on my shit. Probably does anyway.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, Siri. Okay. Hey, Siri, send a message. It's making me do all this shit. Hey, Siri, how's the weather today? I have to set all this up just to do this bullshit. Hey, Siri, set a timer for 3 minutes. Fucking whore. Hey, Siri, play some music. Can I be done now? Okay. All right. Hey, Siri. Translate 5010 Hull from English to French.
It's not going to work.
I'm not hearing shit.
All right, move on.
Hey, Siri. Translate 5010 Hull from English to French.
She's not going to do it.
In French, 5,010 holles. 5,010 coques.
Simmons cook. Nice.
Okay, all right.
Simmons cook.
It's kind of a long setup, but okay.
It's like your ex in Quebec.
Hey!
Simmons cook.
You're going to get me sued, man. Allegedly.
I said X. I didn't say X.
I gotcha.
W word.
All right.
All right. Channel 1-800-DUMB. Blakey, send me a foot pic, please, bro. No! Hillary again, please. No.
We
one
just
was
did
enough.
that. Oh, God, no!
No. We need to take a little bit of a piss break so that Pop can go and empty his squirrel bladder. Do you want to take this to new tech or just keep it going?
Well, what's the actual roll call we have going on?
All right, last roll call here. We got 91 on Twitch, 75 on DLive, 90 on Odyssey, 693 on Rumble, 856 on YouTube, 49 MGTOW.tv.
Well, are we going to be talking? We're not covering the poke stuff, are we?
No, we're talking.
Yeah, we can keep it. We don't have to.
All right, we're going to keep it on every site tonight. So, no good butts for you. Sorry. But hey,
We'll make it up on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll do a nice pee break here, and then we're going to get right into interviewing the realist philosopher with just a quick topic before we get into it because it's glorious.
All right.
If you haven't seen these deep fakes, good sir, you're in for a treat. You feel better now?
I do, thank you.
All right. Everybody went to go take a piss. It was good times.
All right.
Welcome back. Oh, yeah. Now, before we dive right into it, this is just too damn funny not to share. Ohio Public University has to pay $400,000 in damages after punishing a professor over preferred pronoun controversy.
Hang on. Let's say that one more time. $400,000.
Shawnee State University violated his First Amendment rights. That would be affirmative, yes.
Yeah, and they have to now. The college has to pay the idiot tax.
Yep. Nick Meriwether, philosophy professor at Shawnee State University, responded to a male student's question during a January 2018 political philosophy class by saying, "Yes, sir." When the class ended, the student identified to the professor as transgender and demanded to be referred to as a woman in the future, along with feminine titles and pronouns. Wait. Well, you see how much legal weight that carries now. Winning. But this is what happens when you get radical fanatic idealism masquerading as a legit social rights movement.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, and the philosopher will back me up on this. This has actually been used to force the WHO and some of the other organizations in regards to mental illness to redefine the definition so they wouldn't upset them.
Yeah.
because it's insane.
Facts don't care about your feelings, ladies and germs.
Yeah, like quite literally, if you believe you're something that you're not, it is a delusion, and you're treated for delusions.
Yes. You don't tell
Usually.
you don't tell the schizophrenic to put their head in the microwave so that they can pick up the alien signal better.
Yeah, like if you think you're a werewolf, you're going to the funny house.
Although I did that one chick who had a really hairy back. So if she had told me that she was pulling a howling on the full moon, probably would have believed her.
Okay, well,
We talked about that werewolf back.
yeah.
It's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
That and the one tit hitting the floor.
Oh God, that was a horrible day. The one tit wonder story. Have you heard that one?
No.
No, I dated a woman who had an artificial tit, and I never told me about it. It felt real up until the moment of truth, when clothes started coming off and there was that uncomfortable flop on the floor, and I literally am like, oh my God, I was caught by surprise, and I just couldn't complete the act. I just couldn't do it. It caused some problems. So what is your take on these crazy professors and the crap that they're pushing in these colleges?
The woke professors, the left-leaning ones,
Yes.
which is most of them, especially in the humanities, they're shills, either willing or unwilling. They're either indoctrinated, ideologically polarized, or they're willing shills for the people who are really pushing all this stuff. Your global bankers, global elites, pushing for that one world government. So either way, they are tools. They are tools to indoctrinate young people, to turn them into ideologues, to get them out there into the workforce and use their jobs, use their positions to continue to spread the woke ideology.
Yes, I'd agree with that. And a lot of, this is what I'm having a hard time basically coming to terms with, is we have a media industry that is making project after project after project that usually lose money. Sometimes they break even. And it just seems like it's going to keep going on forever.
It will. It will.
Well, who's going to wind up paying for all this? Because at some point, they're going to run out of money.
Nah, they'll just print more.
Well, yeah. I got you.
The people who own the shares and ownership through their shills in these, vast media conglomerates are the bankers, the Federal Reserve bankers. They're the ones that really run the world. You've heard the old saying, he who prints the money runs the world. It's absolutely positively true.
That's absolutely correct. I would really love to see the Fed get audited.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. I mean, the last one who tried that was Kennedy, and he got a JFK haircut for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He had plans for a whole new currency, from what I understand, a United States note combining a gold and a silver standard. And there were initial notes actually printed. They do exist. Mm-hmm. I've seen pictures of them. Not long after that, he went for a ride with the top down.
Yep.
And got his last haircut.
Yep. He went for a ride with the top down.
Little off the top.
Yep. So in fact, they took so much off the top, they had to pick some up off the trunk and put it back.
That's so fucked up.
I've watched that footage, and there's no way, in my opinion, there's just no way one guy in that building squeezed off 3 rounds that fast with a bolt action. I'm sorry.
No. No.
I mean, maybe he could have got 2, but not 3.
No.
Maybe 2.
Like this.
So, my question is this. At what point do you envision a breaking point?
So eventually we're going to reach a point of hyperinflation on par with that of Zimbabwe. Now, the main stopgap that is preventing that from occurring is the globalization of the American dollar. So the effects of inflation are themselves diluted to a great extent because it's the world's reserve currency, it's the petrodollar, it's all over the world. It's encouraged to send it out of the country. We're bringing in all these illegal aliens who send out 150 billion in remittances every year. Every possible way that the bankers have been able to find to globalize the dollar, they have found. But eventually you're going to reach a saturation point. Even though it's used globally, and even though the effects of inflation are reduced to a great extent because of that globalization of the currency, you are eventually going to reach a point of saturation where you will see hyperinflation, where the amount of wealth, of actual physical resources, created value, will begin to get dwarfed by the amount of fiat currency in circulation. And when that happens, you're going to start to see hyperinflation, and that's when shit's going to hit the fan.
Yep, and when people can no longer feed themselves, heat their house, or take care of their kids, or buy medicine, it's going to off the fucking hook.
Now, it's not going to happen as quick as it did in, say, Zimbabwe. You know what happened in Zimbabwe? They had to have a whole barrel full of money just to buy a loaf of bread. They had $1 trillion bills.
Well, I know in Venezuela, you have guys.
Bolivar.
Yeah, they are literally making like heat mats, cooking mats, purses, wallets out of their currency. And it's actually worth more when they turn it to another product than if you were to use it to buy stuff.
Yeah, to heat their house. Yeah. Burn it. It's worth more.
And this,
they
did that in Germany
you
too.
saw the effects. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, in Germany before World War II, they were burning their money to heat their houses. Yeah, and
we're going to reach that point eventually. The only reason it hasn't happened yet is because America is so rich and productive.
Well, I mean, I know, but now that all of our jobs have been sent overseas.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah. Well, first of all, it started, for the most part, with Jimmy Carter when he got all a buddy with China. And they basically came up with the idea that we're going to send jobs to China, give them a taste of capitalism, and bring them out of communism and transform that country into a capitalist nation. Well, what we got is a Frankenstein monster between the two, where China has adopted a lot of the capitalistic ideas, and they set up a lot of companies. But at the back end, each company that they allow to stand up has basically a back door where the CCP can come in, seize the company on behalf of the Communist Party, and use that company for whatever they wish. And so basically, we're giving China the power of capitalism, and they still have the ability to weaponize that entire system against us, in my opinion.
But instead of them becoming more like us, we have become more like them.
That's absolutely correct. And they want, well, first of all, they destroyed the nuclear family. Okay, that went down. And then when Vietnam kicked off, you had a bunch of people who just were really upset the fact that people were getting drafted and sent to a war that was pointless. And that group of people winded up moving into education.
Yep.
And from there, it is filtered down. So now K through 12 and college is nothing but a 16-year indoctrination program in a lot of the school districts in the nation. All right. Now, when I would go to the school when my daughters were still in school, I remember I walked from the front door to the principal's office, and I walked by 6 posters for women. Basically, you can do anything you want. All of like this, propaganda bling on the wall for women. Not one thing for dudes. And I remember I got in there and I was talking before I went in there to talk to the principal, and in regards to some things that were going on. I asked him, I said, hey, do you have any control over this feminist propaganda that you're putting all over your school? And he's just like, it's a school board. That's what they want. They want done. So, and literally, I was looking at all of the people who, like the class president, the class treasurer, and almost all of them are women now. I'm like, where are the dudes? I was like, none of them. Like, listen, we are fucked because they have feminized these men out there terribly.
Yeah. And they're teaching him this bullshit younger and younger so they don't have the mental capacity to question it.
Yep.
Why do you think they want to, start teaching queer sex education to kids pre-K through third grade?
Yeah, you shouldn't have to talk to a kid about that kind of stuff until a minimum of 6th grade.
I mean, think about it. We just came off the heels of this gigantic movement that allegedly put a bunch of predators in jail. You might remember it. It's called Pound Me Too. And we were told that consent is sexy. Like if you bring up any sort of sexual dialogue at work, it's automatically harassment. You should go to jail or lose your job. Now they want to basically sexually harass our children and to have us pay for it, and we don't get a say.
Yeah, what kind of what the fuck? Have you've been following that? Yeah. That's nuts.
This is that fanatic radical idealism when it begins to take hold and it overrides all logic and just turns into emotional drivel.
Yeah. So what is your take on that, philosopher?
You're talking about the stuff in California with Disney?
Yeah.
The whole you can't say gay nonsense, which is a total complete straw man. It's a misrepresentation. All it is about is not teaching kids about sex at too early an age. I think that's just more centralization of power into the government's hands. It's just more socialism. They just want to raise your kids. That's part of what feminism was all about. Part of it was increase the amount of taxpayers out there, cut wages in half, and then you can double tax by you get the man and the woman working now. You cut his wages in half, gave them to her, and now you can tax them both. And the other part was so they could raise your kids. Well, she's at work, so the state has to take care of that kid and teach him all his morals, his ethical foundations, and the truths of the world. And I don't think schools should be in any way, shape, or form teaching anybody about sex. That's the parents' job.
Exactly.
I agree. Totally agree.
And that nonsense, don't even get me started on the don't say gay BS. Disney is, it's just full of a bunch of woke ideologues like I was talking about earlier. The universities have been pumping them out now for 30 years. These former hippies or now full-blown commie pinko scumbags, they get themselves into these positions of power and authority. And they get in there because all the human resources managers are, feminists. They're leftists themselves. That was why women were pushed to go into, these liberal women are, by their very nature, more predisposed to dealing with people and things like that than things. Men are more focused on, objects. And that's why we tend to go into professions like engineering and such, and women tend to go into touchy-feely positions like human resources and teaching, which don't pay very well because they're not very scalable, but somehow that's men's fault. So I am not a big fan of schools teaching sex ed. They shouldn't be doing it. That should be a parent's job.
All right. And here's another thing that really upsets me. All right. So say you have a good enough GPA, you can actually get into college. And you have to take out loans to go because you don't have any scholarships. And you go to school for accounting. You have to take 2.5 years of horse shit classes before you can take the core classes that you actually want.
Ugh.
I mean, that is bullshit to me. Like, I graduated from Oakland University in Rochester Hills, Michigan. And they usually call me, usually twice a year, to get money out of me. And every single time I tell them to fuck off, stop fucking calling me. All the money that you are ever going to get out of me, you fucked it out of me at the bookstore. So if you want any of my money, walk down to the first floor, go to the bookstore, take the money out of the till. Otherwise, fuck off. And they still keep calling me.
Yep.
I've went down to the school, talked to the dean, and said, if you better quit fucking calling me. And they still fucking call me. In fact, I'm going to go there again. I'll film it this time. I'm fucking sick of it.
That'd be amazing.
Oh no, I'm fucking. I'm sick of it. They're not getting another goddamn dime out of me.
Yeah. And the 24 credit hours is always things like women's studies. You got to take social science, which is neither social nor science. It's just, they couldn't be more blatantly trying to just rape your wallet and your mind at the same time with this shit.
Oh, and also, the way it was explained to me by some other individuals, when you go to college and you have to retake English and math, like the first year, some people can test out of it, but most people, because the education they're getting through K through 12 is so shitty, they can't cut it the first year, and they have to dumb it down and reteach you the stuff you need to succeed in college.
Yep. Like George Carlin said, we went from giving kids a head start to no child left behind. I think somebody's losing some fucking ground somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, listen, and I saw a lot of that stuff in the Army. Like my last 5 years, I had guys coming in who were just stone idiots. I'm like, how did you score high enough to get here? Because you're an idiot. I'm serious. Have you seen a lot of that?
What, the military?
No,
Where
I mean,
they're lowering the standards?
Well, have you seen the, like, in your line of work, whatever it is, have you seen, like, a lot of the affirmative action hires, women getting hired above you, that are completely, incompetent or don't want to put in the effort to succeed, but because they're a woman, they get promoted. That happened all the time in the military, and it's happening. It's still happening, and good people are fucking leaving because their leaders are just incompetent, idiots who are put in place because of race and sex.
When you look at the Biden administration, that's all it is.
Yeah, it's diversity hires, what you call it. I'm sure you see a lot of that in the civilian world, right?
Absolutely, more than I can comment on. Honestly, it's a big problem. Now, part of the problem is my age, but also part of the problem is that as I'm in a professional job, you would call it, and when I came back from living overseas, I had a real tough time finding work because they would just hire. Actually, it was mostly Indians and Chinese because they could pay them half as much, and and also I am getting up there in age, so companies are oftentimes afraid to hire somebody who's over a certain age, like right out the gate, start working for their company because they have an issue with how long you might be able to be there, your years of experience. But a lot of the issue was having to compete with foreigners and diversity hires, especially from China and India.
Yeah, because I tried, let's see, for 13 years after I graduated from college, I put in anywhere from 10 to 20 applications to work for any alphabet agency in our government. And I was called back for the Secret Service twice, and the FBI twice. And I was not picked up by the Secret Service. And on the second time I went, for an opening, I got a call back from the FBI. I went in there for the actual interview, and afterwards they're like, well, we're not supposed to tell you this, but, we're looking for somebody who has a master's in accounting, and you're the wrong race and sex. And quite literally, a few months later, some idiots flew planes into buildings and we found out that the FBI knew about individuals who were arrested in one of the fucking schools learning how to do this, and there was only 3 in the whole nation. But these diversity hires don't have enough fucking common sense to pick up the goddamn phone, call the other airline fucking companies, goes, hey, you have any suspicious shit going on in there? No. You have a bunch of people who are operating at 60 fucking %. What are you going to do? Shoot 6 out of 10 enemy who attack you? Fuck you. It's so stupid. Oh, my God.
Feel you.
Sorry.
It gives you focus, makes you stronger.
You got me ranting. Sorry.
That's okay. I do it all the time.
That's why people tune in for this stuff, man.
Sons of
Just
bitches,
saying.
man.
Somebody's got to get pissed.
Well,
Yes. Well, when you're dealing with this sort of just fanaticism, I mean, because that's really what it is. I mean, these people they don't know why they think what they think because they went to a place that was supposed to teach them how to think, and instead they were taught what to think.
yes.
Yeah.
They can't back it up, and when you ask them to, they always fall back. I'm sure you've heard this one too. If you've ever gotten at any internet blood sports, well, it's not my responsibility to educate you.
Yeah. I've heard
Okay,
that.
you might as well just admit that you lost the argument right there.
Yep.
Shit. Oh, by the way, that if you watched last Thursday, that person that the manual transmission whom we completely debunked their entire email with more than 20 links and sources full of facts, logic, and reason and actual data, yeah, they're still trying.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even read the whole thing. I just sent it to you. It was more the same bullshit. Like,
I was so tired of it. Like, I just responded back one sentence today. I was like, with all the money we're saving living rent-free in your head, we're going to be able to make more content to piss you off. So have fun.
God, I didn't even respond. It's pointless. What are you doing, man?
Waiting until your arms are crossed.
You bastard. You bastard.
You bastard.
So, what are some of the stuff you're noticing? That's like right now. What are some of the top 3 things you're noticing that bother you the most?
Yeah, most egregious offenses.
Specific offenses. Oh, geez. I mean, I could speak to generalities, specifics. Oh, geez. I mean, it's tough to get into specifics.
Well, you could just go into the
politics
generalities then
or-
if you like.
Well, why don't we talk about this? What is your take on the red pill philosophy and why it's growing? Because apparently it is growing by leaps and bounds, but the mainstream is not talking about it. They're actually hiding it. And it's getting to the point where it's going to be this huge wave, and they're going to ignore it, and everyone's going to be on the beach. Oh, it'll be okay, and boosh.
I think it has a lot to do with the search for meaning, especially for men. If you lack a fundamental understanding of reality or the ability to understand said reality, you're not going to know how to find meaning in life. So men are drifting through life from a very young age. They don't have meaning. They don't know how to find it. And when they stumble upon something like the red pill that is actually giving them some kind of guidance, and I just call it realism, they become, as you would say, red pilled. They ingest as much of that content as they possibly can. They learn from it. They educate themselves to become better at the skills that men are, naturally predisposed to: critical thinking, understanding the world, using logic and reason. So I think that it's becoming such a big phenomenon. It is growing quite fast because there's a need.
Mm-hmm.
There's a need that needs to be filled. Men are going through life rudderless in many cases. They're growing up in households with single mothers in most cases, because how many cases is the man actually getting custody when the marriage splits up? Very few.
Mm-hmm.
So they need some kind of guidance. They need the advice from men who've been there, done that, who have some kind of real world knowledge. And I think that's what the red pill is offering. Guidance, not telling you what to think, but how to think.
That's what I do. Yeah. And one of the things that I always say when the people question me is, I'm like, okay, marriage used to be a contract. All right? Men were supposed to provide X. Women were supposed to provide Y. And now that's all to the point because of the laws that women have pushed through or bitched about long enough. And most men, if a woman bitches long enough, I'll be like, okay, all right, we'll get the goddamn red Cadillac. Shut the fuck up. So, I mean, yeah. It's just getting to the point where women have all of the benefits of marriage. They get the income, they get the protection, they got a guy who's basically going to provide and fight off so-called wolves that don't exist anymore. But then when they get, you know what, I'm not feeling the feels anymore. Divorce. 80% of divorces filed by women, most of the time the dude is caught completely by surprise. And she walks with a minimum of half your shit. I've seen women get houses. Well, you got to, she's got your children, so you got to move out of the house and give it to her. Okay. Lose their cars. Lose their life savings. Like literally, I went from having $110,000 in the bank to living in an old police car in a year and 2 months. From the time the divorce started to the time it was finished, I was completely homeless, broke, and I was. They assigned some crazy arbitrary number of I had to pay in child support based on a profession and a job I hadn't done in 4 years because I spent one and a half years recovering from being wounded and 1 year in a combat zone, and 4 months before that I was training. And, I'm just like, and I'm sure there's a lot of boys out there or men who have seen their grandfathers, their fathers get run through the ringer. And they're like, why the fuck would I sign up for this bullshit? It's not worth it. There is no upside to getting married anymore. And I think that is having the biggest reason for the growth that's taken place because there's enough people out there talking about it that a lot of these young people, of course, they look up for red pill philosophies and they watch our channels, and every red pill channel talks about how one-sided marriage is and it's of no benefit to men. And when enough red pill providers are saying that message, there's going to be a lot of dudes who are like, fuck it, I'm not getting married.
Yeah, I've talked about this a lot on my channel, bitchute.com/the realist philosopher. I think that what's going on here, insofar as what you were talking about, is men seeking out the red pill. As I said, it has a lot to do with meaning and seeking meaning in one's life. And when you take away the man's role as protector and provider, which used to be ready-made meaning for men, they've got to find it somewhere else. And inordinately, they're finding it in the red pill because it meshes so well with men's natural predispositions. Logic, reason, critical thinking. And we are logic machines. We are strategists by nature. We had to be. It was a part of our evolutionary process. If we weren't, the saber-toothed tiger would eat us. Our enemies would defeat us in war.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, I mean, listen. All right, I have 2 daughters. And I usually don't talk about them in details, and I'm not going to mention their names here. But I've noticed, like the past 4 years, they have like this mentality that it's like life is going to be champagne and rainbows and roses at the foot of the bed every fucking day. That's not how the real world works. No, I graduated high school. 17, I went to Fort Benning. Boom! Punched in the fucking face by reality. They didn't fucking care. Oh, your feet hurt? Fuck you. Drive on. Drill sergeant, I'm hurt. Is there a bone sticking out? No. Fuck you. Drive on. It's in your head. You'll be fine.
Here's some water and Motrin.
Yeah. There is no safety net for us.
Right.
I can't tell how many times I had like junior soldiers whining and bitching, and I'm like, what are you crying about? Well, I'm like, stop fucking whining to me. I'm a man. You're a man. Fucking cowboy up and fucking figure it out. Here's the fucking book. Quit your fucking crying. You can't do that to a woman. They come unglued. They run to the EO. I saw her pop to me. He told me to look it up in the book. Well, did you look it up in the book? Well, no, his tone was bad. And like my phone will ring and like, did you say such and such to Letitia? I said, yeah, she was a useless bitch and she needed to get the book to figure it the fuck out because I'm tired of explaining it. Well, yeah, we're going to have to send it to EO training. Fine. When do I need to go? Oh, you want to send me to sensitivity training? Please do. I can't wait. That is going to be comedy gold right there. God damn it. Look, this whole thing just infuriates me. I'm getting like visibly just exhausted having to explain this crazy horse shit. It's insane.
Yeah, we can't show.
You can't show that. No.
He was wondering, like, did you guys watch the video? Like, no, we can't watch that. Okay, we couldn't even show that on New Tech. We get fucked.
No, that's bald right.
Thanks, crazy uncle. You sick bastard.
So when you approach the argument on the purpose and meaning, and I'm using the argument consequences for actions and no benefits. I mean,
yes. Well, it's consequentialism. Yeah, I mean, there's no benefits. The benefit would be that meaning. Having the children, having a legacy, having something to pass on. We're pretty much making the same argument, just in a different way.
Yeah, you're approaching it from the north, and I'm attacking from the south, and we meet in the middle. I got you.
Right.
Yeah, because I went to the last men's rights conference in Chicago, and there was a reporter there, and this interview was never put up, and mainly because of this. She went on and she was saying, so you're here, and don't you think this is a little bit of misogyny going on? And I'm like
no.
I'm like, all right. So misogyny implies hatred.
Yeah.
All right. I have seen the end result of hatred, and that was pits full of dead bodies. I don't want to see that happen. So this is not hatred. This is fucking reality. And I went through the list, and I looked at her, and I said, "Go ahead, sell me marriage. Stick on, go. What are the benefits?" And she's like, "Well, you get companionship. Dog. Next one. Well, you get the feeling of love. Dark chocolate and whiskey are fine. Next one. Well, you get somebody to cook for you. Uber Eats. Next, go again." And I tore apart her entire argument, and that's probably why it was never fucking shown anywhere.
What's hilarious is that the people who are screaming misogyny are the ones who claim they want equality. What they really want is equity. On the other side, the red pill's like, look, you want equality? Fine. You're going to get it, but it's not going to be what you thought it was, and that's why you're angry.
It's like...
Deal with it.
I can't tell you, when I used to kickbox at least twice a month, I'd have somebody walk in from the street, and like, that looks fun, I want to fight you. I'm like, have you ever fought before? No, but I could do it. I'm like, okay, put on the gloves. We'll see what's going on. And it never worked out well for him.
No, not so much. That was a funny thing. Like when we went to Philly, we sat down with Donovan Sharp at the table. And you got up to go take a piss because, squirrel bladder.
Yeah.
He sits across from me. He's like, Pop's a cool dude, man. He's like, and he just kind of leaned over. He's like, I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't want to fight that motherfucker. He's like, I have not met a man in my life that I was like, I really wouldn't want to fight. He was like, I would not want to fight that guy. I said, you haven't even seen the fight tapes, have you? He's like, should I? I'm like, probably.
I mean,
it's a good idea.
Listen, I wasn't anything special.
No, it was just funny.
I was a guy who mastered the basics, and I had a good chin.
And you just walk through that shit.
I walk right through their punches, and I wear them out, and then usually the 4th to 6th round, they either quit or go to sleep. I can't do that anymore because I'm old and I'm broken.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is. But, you know, you're the philosopher, and you've worked in probably white-collar jobs in sales and so forth. I don't know what you do, but I'm just assuming.
He's not looking at you through the screen, Pop. You can
I'm just assuming. I keep looking directly at the screen here. I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not a professional yet. So. Whereas my line of work, I actually fought people in a ring, and I did that mainly out of boredom between fucking wars. And listen, most people will never know the feeling of having your chain of command walk in and go, all right, pack up your shit, we're going to war. You literally, there's that dead silence, and you can hear everyone stomach jumping up into their throat. And you go through the whole process. And like quite literally, like when I was with my National Guard unit, we're going to war, and everyone was all like, yay! And I said, fucking stop. Why are we cheering? All right, this is how it works. Look to your right and left. All right, if we see real action, those people could quite literally cease to fucking exist. This is not a fucking game. This is the real fucking deal. All right. I couldn't see women, getting, adjusting to that. I literally couldn't. I mean, and that was a combat MOS. And I remember when I went to civil affairs, I show up. I'm a triple tabbed guy. I get called up to go see the battalion commander. And the battalion commander's like, hey, Sergeant Pop, how would you handle having females in your company if you deploy to war? And I'm like, I would throw them down the stairs. He's just like, holy shit, you're the right man for the job. You just don't be throwing them downstairs, though. Figure it out. He liked the answer I gave because it's totally true.
And that's one of the worst places that you're finding this wokeness bullshit is the military. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that, philosopher? I mean, of all the places where this could be creeping up, I'm not sure if you saw the article. We mentioned it a couple times on the streams. They have spent almost 6 million man-hours in the military on wokeness training.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've talked about this before. They lower the standards and then they cheer and raise their hands up and say, "Look at what we've accomplished. We have all these women now in the military." Oh yeah, what they forget to tell you is that they got to do like 2 push-ups and 1 crunch and run a mile in 28 minutes. Oh wow, that's so impressive. Yeah, I mean a slug could do that. A sloth could do better. I mean, I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I've gotten. Listen, I used to be that guy who surfed the wave between, good and bad. And I literally walked that razor's edge. And I was always getting yelled at. And mainly I got yelled at for telling people the fucking truth.
Yeah, this is not a grim fairy tale. And the military in war, slow and steady, does not win the race.
No, it absolutely does not.
No, listen. There are, especially if you are enforcing that last 300 meters of this country's foreign policy, you could be sitting, just minding your own business 1 minute, and the next minute, quite literally, having to run miles and miles to stay alive. I mean, literally. That's why. When I was in the Ranger Battalion, I ran 5 miles 2 to 3 times a week, and we road marched 12 miles twice a month, and we would do 25 to 30-mile road marches, usually once every 6 weeks, just to keep your body and mind in that razor edge, battlefield-focused mindset. All right, because quite literally, there was a few times where I had to run for my fucking life. Half a day through the night into the next morning through triple canopy jungle. And running in the jungle in the darkness, not pleasant. Everyone was torn to shreds. I had black palm thorns all over the place. I had been bit by all kinds of insects. I was fucked up 3 ways to Sunday. And if I'd have been in my 40s, I probably would have had to get medevaced because that's how tough it was. I could not see a woman doing that. And quite literally, people would have to like lag behind to drag her along, and you're risking people's lives.
Yep.
And and this is like one of my nightmares is I'm in a platoon size element. We see combat. I got to move the entire platoon from point A to point B. And when we get to point B, there is going to be a counterattack that we're going to have to participate in turning back. But I have these 2 females. I have to get the whole platoon there. And I had to make the call to leave them behind and have them catch up on their own. And I literally, I got like, I was in all this fucking trouble because I couldn't come up with a better solution. You want me here to fight, but I have to stay back here for 2 women who can't keep up. That's not how war works. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion.
Ugh.
You're only as strong as your weakest link.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the thing is, the leftoids don't understand that.
Nope. And now Joe
They've never
Biden.
been in a real fight.
No.
Or they didn't bum rush somebody with 12 of them wailing on some poor little Asian guy like Andy No.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You know, actually, when that happened, I sent him an email because I read in the article that he had like a TBI, a brain bleed. I survived one of those, and it took me years to recover from it. And I sent him an email like, "Hey, bro, I'll help you through the system." I didn't hear anything back from the guys, which he probably gets a bazillion emails anyway.
He probably does, yeah.
Yeah. But it's nuts. So what are some of the what is the most recent subject you covered on your channel?
I was talking about how the Chinese are doing so much better than pretty much every Western country in education when they're spending about 1/10 the amount of money that we are in America. And it's kind of crazy, the differential. They're scoring 100% better in math and science, 75% better in reading. It's like, what the hell's going on here? This is nuts.
Well, like
of course, that totally blows out of the water this narrative that education has much of anything to do with how much money you spend. It doesn't really.
No, it doesn't.
No, because most of the inner city schools, like the Detroit public education, gets saturated with millions of dollars every year, and a shocking percentage of the people who graduate high school are illiterate.
They can't read. Yeah.
And it's because when in this country, that they love their bureaucracy. And the more bureaucracy you create, the more ways you create to skim off the top, pad everybody's pockets, and make everybody happy except the people that money was supposed to go to in the first place.
Well, when you hire Pookie and Ray Ray, because they're friends yours.
Of course, yeah.
Did you have do they know how to do the job they're doing? Probably not.
Probably not.
Or how about we just create one, put you in there. You don't have to do anything, but we'll still pay you. That's corruption, and I'm sure that's happening a lot in the Detroit school district.
Oh, yeah.
My grandmother was a teacher in the Detroit school district. She was there when it was they called Detroit the Paris
of the West.
The West. It had like 2.4 million people living in the city, and she showed me pictures. Like there wasn't any burned up buildings. There was whole like if you were to drive from the suburbs to downtown Detroit on Woodward, there was literally shops for miles that were open, and they sold all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Now you drive down there, there's nothing but boarded up buildings, and occasionally there'll be fried chicken or wig shops.
Or weed shops now.
Or weed shops.
Weave and weed shops.
Yeah. Until you get to downtown proper where the casinos are, and that's where all the police are, and there's hardly any crime.
Yep. Every leftist shithole from sea to shining sea can be described exactly the same way.
It's absolutely correct. And I have no idea. They like when Trump said Baltimore was a shithole.
He was right.
And
I've been there.
everyone flipped out.
Oh yeah.
But Baltimore is a shithole.
Yeah.
It is a raging shithole. And it's been like that forever. And nobody will do anything about it. And all of these Democrats keep promising, I'll be changed. We're going to do something different.
Yeah, I know we haven't done anything in the 50 years we've been running your leftoid shithole.
But trust us now.
Trust us this time. We're going to make change. We're totally not the problem.
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah,
Back
I'm sorry,
off.
bro. I'm sorry. I didn't
No,
mean
it's all right.
He goes off on a tear.
I go off on a tangent, but
Good for your mental health to express yourself.
Yes. It is 10:10 though, so I think we're going to have to read the rest of the super chats and call it a night. But before we do that, I want to know if there's anything that you would like to bring into this discussion, philosopher, to kind of put a bow on this whole subject of wokeness. What is it that the audience watching this show, there's like 1,500 people watching right now, train their brains to spot this shit? And I mean, if you're already watching us, you're smart enough to identify it, unless you're like part of our 3 hate subs, in which case fuck off. But
yeah.
Well, the main thing about wokeism is it derives many of its beliefs, many of the ideological underpinnings from the philosophy known as idealism. And a lot of people, when they hear the word idealism, they just think of somebody who is a little naive, expects too much good from other people and from the world. When the truth of the matter is, there's probably nothing more dangerous in the world today than the proliferation of idealism. And people don't really understand what this philosophy is and how it plays itself out in the world. And it's literally best described in simple terms as magical thinking. It's literally magical thinking, thought pressure. You can sum it up by saying that people who are idealists actually believe that the things that they think can have some kind of manifestable difference, make some kind of manifestable difference, actually enact change in the real world just by thinking it, as if by thought pressure alone. Well, that's what mental health professionals would call magical thinking.
Yeah.
And it's highly irrational.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a hallmark of idealism. And you get that all over the place with these leftist individuals who have all of these beliefs that go contrary to human nature. Everything that they think, everything that they believe has never worked, will never work. They can never show you any examples of where it did work. Everywhere it's been tried, all of their ideas have failed. But
and you keep getting you get the response, well, it just wasn't done right.
Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't real communism.
Yes.
It wasn't real socialism. And some dishwasher, some waiter or waitress, some idiot leftoid barista saying that to me, what they're actually saying is, well, I'm the special genius that figured out the secret sauce. I'm the special genius that figured out how to make socialism and communism work. I'm the one real commie pinko socialist in the world that can make this shit work, and I'm working here in a Starbucks as a fucking barista, making $8.50 an hour. And I'm such a special genius, though, that I figured this out. But this is the best I can do in life. But I figured it out. And that's how I know that everybody else out there that tried this, Stalin and Lenin and Trotsky and all these, morons, they just got it wrong. And I'm the one person in the world that recognizes the true socialism, the real socialist, and I'm the only one out there. That's the kind of ego that a lot of these idiots have, that they think they figured it out in their shitty little job serving coffee, serving lattes to other special, elitists who also think that they figured out the secret sauce. Morons.
I love it.
And now that I figured it out, I'm going to take out my capitalist product, which was produced with Chinese child labor, and I'm going to tweet about it on a totally non-capitalist platform. Space Ghost is on.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is that they don't get that the philosophy that they're following is one that is the most irrational, contradictory, illogical, based totally completely on feelings and emotions. And these people used to be called sophists. When Western philosophy originally came about through Socrates, And his enemies were the sophists. I don't know if you heard about them.
No.
When people talk about ancient Athens, these were the politicians that played on people's emotions, and all of their arguments were emotional ones. There was no logic, there was no reason.
We don't know any
just played on the
politicians like that.
emotions of the people, and they were called sophists. That's how Socrates referred to them, and they're still that to this day. And your idealist is somebody that has magical thinking and believes in no way, shape, or form in biological determinism, objective reality. In fact, an idealist does not believe that objective reality exists. Everything is subjective. The whole world is created by your thoughts.
It's
and
a
your
construct.
feelings.
A social construct.
These people who are social deconstructivists who are using idealism to break down and tear apart Western culture and civilization from the inside out, who are putting themselves into positions of power and influence so they can do that with this evil ideology. They literally believe that the whole world, the whole universe, is some kind of manifestation of our consciousness that exists in a brain somewhere else in a vat. That's what's called solipsism. I'm sure you've heard of solipsism. A lot of people talk about it in reference to women and feminism. Well, that's a hard form of idealism. This belief that the world in and of itself is some kind of matrix-like creation. It's all a simulation, and we're just brains and vats somewhere. And we create the world communally through our thoughts and feelings, and it is a projection of the mind instead of reality creating the mind. So they've got it backwards, basically.
So what you're saying is these people who think you can get up in the morning and choose your gender on a whim are fucking crazy?
Basically.
Yeah.
It's like a mass psychosis.
They're fucking morons.
Yeah, basically. But it's very easy to control such people because all of their arguments and beliefs are grounded in emotion and not logic or reason. And when that's the case, anybody else who can think, use even a modicum of logic and reason, can control you, can lead you around by your own emotions.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
I mean, we've seen how many different people on our side of the fence. On the other side is idealism. We're over here on the reality side. Writing fake papers, like research papers, and then getting them published, and they're all weapons-grade bullshit. It completely proves the point that you can lead these people around by the nose hairs and they won't know a fucking difference because it's all emotion.
Yeah.
Or how about that? There was that one group of academics, but they were more on the right, who rewrote Mein Kampf. They took some passages from Mein Kampf and they replaced the Jew with white man. And the leftist academics loved it. They thought that was so great.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that was
I didn't
hilarious.
hear about that. That's awesome.
No, I heard about that. That's pretty good.
It's insanity. Yet that's why I make content, and probably why you do as well, to combat this nonsense, to try and ground people more in reality, to get them to be able to think for themselves, to understand how the real world works, instead of entering the world using only their emotions to perceive and integrate the information they're getting from their senses. And that doesn't really work at all, because emotions are just a way to inform you to a certain extent. They're not any kind of valuable tool to integrate the information going on in the world around you into some kind of understandable knowledge or skill set. That's really why I make
what I've had to deal with, especially when I went to college, is I ran into a bunch of the people who always would counter any kind of logical argument with, well, that's just a construct. Men created it.
Yeah, biological sex is a social construct. Because we had to come up with a name for something that exists in nature, automatically makes it a social construct.
And I would always counter, so it's a construct. So, gravity's constructed. What? Okay.
Well, the concept is a construction, but the thing that it's actually describing is not.
I know.
That's an objective truth.
That's exactly what I tell them. I'm like, if it's a construct, go to the roof and jump off. Let me know what happens.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
You're going to have your argument with gravity and physics, and then you might die. And
you'll die.
If it's high enough, you're going to die. If not, you're gonna experience some pain.
Yes.
All right, let's finish up these super chats.
All right. Just for anybody who's been joining us late in the stream, if you want to follow this awesomely intelligent gentleman right here, beatshoot.com/therealistphilosopher, spelled just like you see on the screen.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. One roll call here. We got 84 still watching on Twitch, 68 on D-Live. No new donations over there. 83 currently watching on Odyssey, 611 on Rumble, 816 on YouTube, and 51 on MGTOW.tv.
All right.
Not bad.
Not
bad.
Let's check out Odyssey first here. Caleb on with a few donations here back to back. 0.01 library coin. I had a childhood from 3 or 4 years old to 16 or 17 being on Ritalin for attention deficit hyperactive disorder. One of the most overdiagnosed bullshit things ever created.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not real.
No. I have to fight my weight because the meds fucked my metabolism now. Spent the last 2 years of high school in the weight room, so I have decent strength still, and gaining weight is easy. I graduated in 1997. Trying to lose weight is hard for me.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, Adderall and Ritalin are just synthetic forms of cocaine.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, give it a 5-year-old, give it a kid.
Yeah.
From 5 to 15, cocaine every day. Oh, no, that's not going to cause any problems. Oh, no.
Oh, we'll just call it Coca-Cola.
Listen, when I was in school, I was a hyperactive motherfucker, and the teacher handled it at recess, and we would just run our asses off.
Just run.
You come back from running your ass off from recess, guess what? You're calm.
Yep.
That's all you got to do.
Just run off the energy.
That's right.
Yeah, ADHD is code for too manly, too masculine.
Yep. You got to dumb them down.
Oh.
Andreas Christian, it's like the brown shirts. They force these brainwashed nutters to be SJW woke junk and to help elite get what they want. And when that is achieved, the elite will go, well, look at these degenerates. Time for some final solutions. And there you go. Population reduction says hi.
Mm-hmm.
Not like we're seeing that or anything.
No.
Oh.
No, not a bunch of 20-something athletes dropping dead of heart attacks in the last year or two.
Yep. You can actually look at those videos where they link together 50, 60 young people dropping dead on the field.
Yep. Yeah, we're not finding military dudes in the prime and best shape of their lives dead in their bunks and not investigating it. No, that's
Correct.
not happening. Andreas Christian again. Gents, be careful. The second chicks get desperate, they will start to roofie guys by giving the guys free booze.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah, that's coming down the pipe.
yeah, we'll be covering that in the next pop culture comedy video called The 1 to 10 Dick Dilemma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't go give it around the 10 deck. That's how you wind up with a stalker.
Yeah.
It's no good.
You got to ration it out.
Caleb on says, and where I went to school, gym class was a compulsory class. Weight class, which was weight training, was a selective for the last 2 years of high school. All right.
Yep.
Yep. Jackal the Emperor, no work for me this Thought Thursday. I'll send a crazy tale depending on the topic for the next stream.
Cool.
And a good butt shipment.
Yes,
Next
please.
booty launch being worked on will be a metropolitan type. Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Maybe more fictional booty for the anime booty-loving guys. Yeah, I got a few of those hanging around. No jab ever, tweets Blake and Pop. You should make a pure Michigan commercial. I live an hour north in a small town, and it's depressing as hell. Nothing but pot shops, unhealthy fat people, and tattoo parlors on every corner. That sounds like Flint.
Yeah.
I bet that's where he lives.
We can easily do a couple of Pure Michigan.
We could.
Pure Michigan.
We think our governor has a dick. It's pure Michigan.
Or we're in Detroit at in front of a bunch of burned down houses.
Yep.
Pure Michigan.
Pure Michigan. If she's got an apple, it's a good bet she's got a banana.
Yep.
It's pure Michigan.
Not a good time.
Ben Band says, take my money. Oh, well, thank you. Goat cheese. How do you kill a horde of zombies? Operation Warp Speed. Oh! Damn. Zing. Like that one.
Yep.
I'm not going to say it isn't true.
No. And I'm going to be honest. Trump has some culpability in Operation Warp Speed.
Yes, he does.
You know, as soon as I heard about this fucking the mRNA vaccine, I started looking it up. And the studies I saw were not good at all.
No. And they have only gotten worse, not better.
Mm-hmm.
So go. As a test, I tell my friends to say, I need more cat food in front of their phones / Siri, Alexa devices and watch the cat food ads come rolling in. Here's a fucked up one. Say, hey, Google, what was the science fiction movie released in 1992 and prepare for some shit? And he says, do not play the Google audio on YouTube on the test I just mentioned. Well, I don't have an Android. But
I don't mess with any of that shit. So
I don't either. 'Cause I'm going to turn it off.
I mean, it's already bad enough. I mean, I search all kinds of stuff for the Pops Preppers.
Yeah.
And I see all these ads for what I just searched on Facebook.
Oh, and people will send us links for shit, and I'll check it out and be like, oh, great. It sent me to a white pride page. Now I'm on a list. Motherfucker. Okay, I'm just like using a freaking VPN just to open your guys' emails. Hiapatus, one of the reasons of old that men got married was for the woman's cooking skills because men didn't have to focus on that because traditional gender roles were followed strictly. Mm-hmm. And they didn't want to eat shitty foods that they themselves made. Now all men have to do to get food is supersize it at the next window, please.
Yep.
Women will insist that men have made themselves obsolete with all of the inventions that we've made for them. I would argue that it's actually quite the opposite.
Who's going to continue to make those inventions?
Exactly.
Build them, and then improve upon them, and maintain them, and invent more.
Yep.
Yep.
Only in the West can women live in a society that favors them with affirmative action, even though they're the majority of the population. They can decide whether to work or not. They're the ones who have all the reproductive freedoms. And they get to live in a home while a man goes out and risks life and limb, and, 95% of workforce deaths prove this, using inventions that men made to make their lives easier so they wouldn't bitch as much, and then still claim that they're oppressed.
Yep. And they got all those, inventions made by men because they bitched their ears off.
Yeah, we want to have to go down to the river and beat the clothes clean on a stone. Fine, I'll make you a washing machine. And I gotta wash the dishes by hand, and my hands are the skin is gonna get dry and cracked. Fine, I'll make you a fucking dishwasher.
Yep, that's exactly
I don't want to have to talk to you after we have sex. Here's a battery-powered stick that vibrates. Just get away.
I'm tired of hearing from you. That's funny.
Now that I've deadened all my nerves, you can't satisfy me. Can I call Tyrone over? After you sign these. What's this? It's a prenup. Get the fuck out of here.
Nice.
Kira Ninja 00. Pop, when the shit hits the fan, all this my feelings bullshit will all go away from these women. It's happening because they know they can get away with this, and when it does happen, it's going to be one hell of an event.
A lot of them are going to die.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw what happened.
If there is no safety net.
Yeah.
I am not going to swoop in and deal with a woman with 4 or 5 fucking kids. I'm not taking on that responsibility. I'll look her in the face and go, Feminism 1, handle your fucking shit, move on.
Bye-bye.
That's exactly what I'm going to tell them.
I mean, we saw what happened when people believed the media's bullshit. Oh, Trump's going to cause World War III rhetoric after he bombed Soleimani. And all these feminists were like, fuck this shit. I want to go learn how to make sandwiches. Like, yeah, all of a sudden your strong independent side just goes out the window as soon as there's a legit threat on the horizon, or at least a threat that you perceive as legitimate.
Yep.
It's pathetic. I paid us here in the voice of Gilbert Godfrey. Poetry with Pop. There was once a Blake as a tech guy. He always said words on the fly. Blake found ways to rig it while Pop's stomach biffed it, but seemed sexually interested in a midget. Wasn't me, man.
All right. No, I never messed with a midget. My buddy did.
No, I never messed with them. They're little people.
Yeah,
you got to be conscious of them.
No. Apparently, the midget my buddy was banging in Korea was like famous. And like he banged her like when his platoon took him out. First time.
Famous midget.
And he banged the midget. And then he banged her like 4 or 5 other times for the rest of the time he was there.
It's just nasty.
I call her Mini-Me.
He's just like, hey, I didn't care. I drank her up to an 8.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean 8? 3'8".
We don't know on our kitty. Love Mini Mr. Bigglesworth. Stroke him.
So nasty.
That's pretty much how it went down.
All right, fine, you brat bastard. Just for you, channel 1-800-DUMB.
God. I'm so sick of this. God damn, this is the worst part right here.
The big fat ass of the back.
Bad ass. This is not good either.
You've been so bad.
No, thank you.
My bad. He says I could do this all day. Well, the thing is, like, people in the chat are, throwing up in their shoes and shit. It's not good.
It's not good, bro.
It's a Smooth Criminal. My old nickname was Fafo. Why, you may ask? During deployment, I choke slammed an Iraqi because he tried to yell at my team leader. My NCO wasn't mad, but my command had me smoked for a week straight. Ouch.
That happens.
It does. Getting smoked for doing the right thing. Sam Whiskey, what are the unintended consequences of Germany rearming again? Well, we all know what happened the last couple of times.
Yeah. And listen, there's never going to be peace in Europe.
No.
Never.
That's what really cracked me up. Like, oh, but Putin ruined our peace in Europe. Oh, I'm sorry. Migrant crisis, anyone?
Well, like, for instance, right before I cut out all of those liberal fucktards out of my life, a lot of them were talking about how advanced Europe was and we should be more like Europe.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And I literally have we forgotten the two fucking world wars that were fought over in Europe just in the 1900s?
Yep.
And they're like, well, that's an isolated incident. Okay, what about Napoleon? And the first half of the 18th century, France was at war with Europe. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you want to go back to the 1700s? And it just goes on and on.
Yeah, but, that would require these people actually picking up a fucking book that didn't have pictures in it.
Listen, I am fucking so sick and tired of the libtards. I
bad
try not to deal with them anymore. I have high blood pressure, and it just makes it worse.
Yep. Shark dentures. People in the West who support one world government are idiots who never ran a business. If your business is at the top, you don't merge with failing ones.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah. Cliff 3188. Evening, gents. Check your email, please. New alphabet community designation. Not sure if you want to read it on corporate tube. Maybe something for a later date. I hope you guys get a chuckle. I took a glance at it, and it looks like comedic genius. We'll go over it when we get off the air here.
All right.
Ascension. Why do women have a hard time choosing a place to eat? Because the last time they chose, they doomed all of mankind.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, man. You ever want an exercise in futility? Try dating a vegan. Tony Soprano, look up the definition of failing upward. It's the perfect definition of what goes on in corporate America today. Oh, yeah.
Yep. And in the Army.
Yep. Army, government, across the board. Colorado. Blake, you need to get that sound bite. I think it's from a British movie where the guy's saying, the first thing you gotta do is get mad. God damn it. I will look that up.
Uh-huh.
Ascension! In 1827, Dracula started to feed on a diet of 16-year-old virgins. By 2016, he died of starvation.
Yes, he did.
Winning! Actually, no. It's funny shit, though. Magician Sapphire. So this is how the American military fails, because our enemies misgendered our soldiers and feminism ain't bulletproof and nuke-proof.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah. Getting woke is going to do a lot worse than go broke. Rusty Shackle for Detroit still beats Flint. I don't know about that. I've seen both. They're both absolute shitholes.
Grand Rapids, Flint, Detroit, terrible places.
Yeah. Not good. Not good at all. Smooth Criminal. I could have sworn I heard Gilbert Gottfried speaking when Realist started his rant. Damn, that guy is going to be missed. Mm-hmm. Yes, he will. Dario with a $10 donation. Thank you very much. I remember a TFM interview where you said people wouldn't let government take their guns. I agree with TFM. Nobody will do crap about it. Look at the January 6th. Most of them are veterans and no one is helping them.
Yep.
Yeah, the propaganda train is running on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Smooth Criminal. I could have sworn. Oh, I already read that one. Sorry. Dreddy G, like Judge Dreddy. Thank you, Pop and Blake. Realist Philosopher, welcome back. Can you please re-upload your old Jessica Simpson Daily Mail video on your BitChute channel? That was comedy
there.
gold. Thank you again. I'll sub again soon. Take care.
Nice.
It's there. If you scroll back far enough, you'll find it. It's there.
I'll have to look that up. K to the Swiss. My kindergarten teacher pushed Ritalin on me as well. I also graduated in 97. I'm shorter and thinner than I should be. Thanks, bitch.
Yeah, that actually.
Oh, yeah.
I know a bunch of young kids that were supposed to be certain heights and who aren't.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I made a couple videos about that, the ADHD. The guy that actually invented the diagnosis on his deathbed admitted it was just made up to sell drugs.
Yep.
He literally admitted it on his deathbed. We made it up so we could sell a lot of pharmaceuticals to worried parents.
Shocker.
Yeah, big surprise.
And yet people still believe in it because marketing.
Yeah, and like literally, you have these. I've talked to a lot of these young kids. And they're like, "Well, I'm on Ritalin. I'm disabled." I'm like, what?
You're not disabled. You're an idiot.
Fuck out of here!
Well, you are now that you've been on Ritalin a while, but
Just fucking quit taking it.
I love these people who think that social anxiety now is a fucking disability. Like, no. Go get a job waiting tables and get used to it.
That's right. Yeah.
I used to date a chick who's just like, oh, I have social anxiety. I was like, okay, so this is you. This is your name. I'm going to put it over here in the fuck buddy pile. See, this is the girlfriend pile. You notice it's empty right now. And the wife pile, I don't even have that yet. So
I like it.
well, actually, taking those ADHD drugs, that the Ritalin and the Adderall, it negatively impacts a person's ability to uptake dopamine. So you literally, while your body can create dopamine, it inhibits your neurotransmitter's ability to uptake it. So it affects a man's energy levels, his motivation, his ambition, all these things.
His dick.
yep.
Well, there's, yeah.
It interferes with the trigger. Yep.
Could you imagine that? Like, I'm just imagining worst case scenario. Dude's, ADHD. He's been on the Ritalin forever. He's trying to get his freak on with a chick. Finally manages to hit the right button. Was it good for you? All right, get off. Where's my Xbox?
Yeah, pretty much.
At least this has an interactivity. Michael Simmons says, one invention made by a woman, duct tape.
Was it? All right.
Because she knows that women talk a lot?
Maybe. Or maybe because women are lazy and they could just tape it together until it breaks again and then just tape it again and they keep taping it and taping it.
Hey, men do that shit too.
Yeah, we do. I do it. To a point.
Yeah. Yeah, I know she don't look like much, but she hasn't fallen out of the sky yet. Is that duct tape on the wing?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to call Spirit Airlines.
If you watch that movie Fandango, it's an old one from the early 80s, and they actually are flying to a wedding, and the guy lands the Cessna on the road, and they're getting in, and the guy's like, "Hey, is that duct tape on the wing?" He's like, "Yeah, I just put it on there. You'll be fine."
It's a fresh coat.
Yeah, typically you don't want to get on an aircraft and you see duct tape. Just saying.
Jackal the Emperor, last chat of the night, says, good thing I don't take drinks from strangers. Women want to roofie me. I'll answer them with giving them cyanide or chlorine gas on a rag. Does this smell like chloroform to you?
That's brutal.
All right. I want to thank the Realist Philosopher for joining us on the show.
Outstanding.
It was a pleasure having you on. Some of those, when you get going, that New York comes out. And it's just so damn entertaining. I was over here laughing my ass off.
That is funny.
We're gonna make that into a Grunt Speak short. That whole rant. It's going on there.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Anywhere else besides BitChute where people can find you, good sir?
They can visit my website, therealistphilosopher.com. There's all my social media links are in the upper right-hand corner. So just click on those, and
I would
take you right there.
highly advise you to start a Rumble channel.
Yeah.
I will think about it. Definitely.
Because, yeah.
Oh, I missed one thing here from Daniel, before we take off. I'm an over-the-road truck driver. I was at Indian Reservation Territory in New Mexico and Flagstaff, Arizona 2 to 4 weeks ago. At the casino resort in Flagstaff, I had to use the bathroom. They asked me to wear a mask, which I didn't have, so they gave me one. Then they asked me for my name and birth date. Like, what the fuck? I gave them a fake name and used the bathroom, came out, threw the mask on the floor in front of them, and walked out. Then at the Indian Reservation truck stop in New Mexico, I'm in line to buy some salsa, and a security guard comes up to me and tells me that I need a mask. I told him to go fuck himself and get with the times. It's 2022, not 2020, so I flipped him double birds and walked out.
Yeah, I like it.
What a world we're living in.
I know,
Boy.
man. It's just a never-ending. It's like a
Clown world.
It's like a snowball gathering steam, but instead of snow, it's shit, and it's just gathering up all the mud and rocks and sticks, and it's.
And when that hits, it's going to be a shitstorm.
Yeah, it is. It's rolling right toward a gigantic fan.
Yep.
All right, safety briefing, sir.
All right, don't drink and drive, don't drink and swim, wear a condom or flush it down the toilet. If you have to fight, don't go to the ground because that's where you get stomped out. If you need to use a weapon to defend yourself, shoot to kill because it's best to have just one story.
Amen to that.
There you go.
And for those of you out there who are missing the new tech exclusive portion, don't worry, because on Thursday night, we're bringing back Fucked Up But Funny, and it's going to be a new tech exclusive. So if you guys have any videos that you want us, crazy drunk uncles, to react to, send them to me, redonkulasblake@gmail.com. Even if it's just a link, I will download it and make sure that we have it on the show. The good ones, anyway.
Outstanding.
If you send me shit, you're going to get shit.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you again to Realist Philosopher. Have a good
Welcome.
night, sir. Thank you for coming on, and we will see you on Thursday.
Outstanding.